Chapter 68. The Eternal Night Guild's chat channel was briefly silent for a few seconds because of Su Rui's sudden appearance. Hearing Su Rui keep asking about Su Cheng WNU, Melancholic Sheep immediately repeated the news he saw on the forum. Then everyone in the guild saw this prompt. This guild's leader Night Rain went offline. Went offline, went offline, went offline. Ice-cold small hands. Who can tell me what happened in the end? Delicate beauty. Leader Darren? Why did Leader Darren leave? The Lun family still hasn't had the time to worship our Chuyun poet. Melancholic Sheep. Why do I feel like I've discovered some great secret? Or inspiring evil? Sheep, come to Lulan, I'll bring you to level. Melancholy Sheep. Alright. Ice-cold small hands, publicly showing affection in the guild and what not. Really enough. Su Rui went offline from the game and immediately went to the computer to open Lingshan's official forum. Then he entered Huaxia District 4's discussion area. Seeing that post that was pinned to the top, Su Rui's eyes flashed. After he finished reading all the content and comments, his entire face was so gloomy that water was about to drip out. Uncle Li. Su Rui called heavily and the housekeeper uncle's straight figure immediately appeared beside Su Rui. Young master, what instructions do you have? Help me book a ticket to Lijiang City, the sooner the better. Also, contact a good security company. I want them to help me lock onto a person's network IP. Understood, young master. Hearing Su Rui's instructions, Uncle Li immediately remembered it in his heart and earnestly carried it out for the first time. Turning off the computer, Su Rui lightly breathed a sigh of relief and then somewhat gloomily smiled. He really couldn't wait that long. At the same time, because of the explosive video, almost all the big shots in Huaxia District 4 knew about the news of Su Cheng WNU's return. Daisha Tian, who was currently leading people to clear a dungeon, couldn't help but have a cold expression. Elder Dawn Wind, what do you have to say? On the side, Elder Dawn Wind Waning Moon was clearing the small monsters while quickly answering. Chairman, you've killed her so many times, I believe that she won't dare to provoke you and Yi Xiao Mai Mai anymore. Seeing that we've known each other for so many years, just let WNU go this once. Daisha Tian's expression sank, and his gaze involuntarily fell on Hui Mao Yi Xiao's body not far behind him. Right now, Hui Mao Yi Xiao was already equipped with a level 55 set, and her emerald green priest robe set off her entire person's especially youthful and lively. Tian Gij, what? Seeming to feel Daisha Tian's line of sight, Hui Mao Yi Xiao followed the route that was cleared by everyone and slowly walked to Daisha Tian's side. Su Cheng WNU is back. Sakura whispered, Yi Xiao, if you still can't let go of that matter, I'll continue to order people to kill her. Yi King Yi Tian Tian Tian, I was only killed by her twice. Speaking till here, Hui Mao Yi Xiao's eyes reddened as if she thought of something especially wronged. Then she forced a smile and looked at Daisha Tian. After all, you guys used to be friends. You don't need to continue haggling over every ounce with her. Since you said so, I'll let her off. Daisha Tian raised his eyebrows. His face had the appearance of my family. Yi Xiao is the most kind-hearted and innocent, disregarding former enmity, and I'm the most magnanimous person, not haggling over her despicable person. Elder Dawn Wind and Waning Moon at the side expressed, Leader Darren, why do you give up on healing R? Ever since you met Hui Mao Yi Xiao, your entire IQ has been pulled down a street R. You know. And that Hui Mao Yi Xiao, who hasn't been killed in online games before R. Weren't you just killed twice? What does that count as R? You didn't drop any equipment and only lost a little bit of experience. What qualifications do you have to cry and wipe your tears R? WNU, she was hunted down by the entire server. From level 60, she was killed back to the novice village and was turned white 5 times. She didn't shed a single tear. Ari, as an outsider, why do I feel so bad? Lingshan Penglai Island, Millennium Realm Instance's entrance. White Wolf was still sitting at the position facing the instance's entrance, watching everyone go in and out. Right now, his message bar was already exploding. Even the leader, Lone Wolf, sent him a voice call. Lone Wolf, you're still at the entrance of the Millennium Realm Instance. Lone Wolf's voice was slightly hoarse, just like him. This kind of hoarse and deep voice gave people a very dangerous feeling. White Wolf softly responded and immediately said, I want to wait for Su Cheng Wnu to come out and compete with her again. Losing so unjustly and also being ridiculed by the whole server's onlookers. White Wolf felt that if he didn't win back once, he wouldn't be able to face others. Lone Wolf was silent on the other side for a while. Finally, he once again spoke in a low voice. Forget it, White Wolf. Dealing with a woman like this, we're also dropping our status too much. These days, Lone Wolf also couldn't help but reflect on himself. At that time, he impulsively issued a huge bounty hunting order. In the end, was it because of his resentment towards Su Cheng Wnu or was it because of these years of unwillingness? Seeing her and Di Shitian fall out and become enemies, the happiest one should be himself. Especially some time ago, he knew that she was killed back to the novice village again and again. At that time, Lone Wolf's heart even had a kind of twisted pleasure. But in the week that Su Cheng Wnu disappeared, Lone Wolf inexplicably felt a little lost, even if that woman was killed so many times, to the point that she wanted to delete her account and not play. She never compromised with anyone. This kind of temperament made Lone Wolf unconsciously recall the scene when he just met Su Cheng Wnu a few years ago. At that time, he was attracted by her temperament that didn't lose to men, right? The so-called no love, no hate. Since he already let go of that infatuation of the past, then why should he continue to bitterly pressure Su Cheng Wnu? Everyone will treat them as strangers in the future. Hearing Lone Wolf's instructions, White Wolf froze for a long time. White Wolf, boss, don't tell me you still. Lone Wolf, I've already let it go. Losing Di Shitian's protection, Su Cheng Wnu alone in the 4th district can't turn over any storm no matter how much she tosses and turns. Don't tell me that I, Lone Wolf, am a dignified guild leader, still can't tolerate her, a woman? It has to be said that in some aspects, Lone Wolf is still more able to take up and let go than Di Shitian. While the outside was bustling with excitement because of his video, Su Wan was single-mindedly grinding the instance. In the depths of the beautiful seabed, jellyfish monsters flashing with blue light floated everywhere. This was the sealed Millennium Realm. The background story of the Millennium Realm instance was a poignant love legend. Legend has it that this was a seabed castle that was sealed for 1,000 years. In the castle lived the noblest and most beautiful mermaid king in the entire sea. 1,000 years ago, the mermaid king used forbidden magic to turn into a human and went to the splendid cherry blossoming Chuyun City to play. In the land of the moon in Chuyun City, she met the young and handsome city lord's son. The two people quickly fell in love. Because forbidden magic couldn't maintain her human form for a long time, the Mermaid King must return to her seabed castle before the magic lost its effect. Knowing that his beloved girl was about to leave, the city lord's son was very sad. He used many ways to make his beloved stay. Perhaps it was because the cherry blossom rain in Chuyun City that year was too gorgeous, or maybe it was because the moon in Chuyun City was particularly beautiful that the Mermaid King couldn't resist her lover's infatuation. On the last day before the magic lost its effect, she still couldn't bear to leave. As a result, early the next morning, she turned back into a mermaid. The Mermaid King who turned into a mermaid did not receive the love and tenderness of her imagined lover. Instead, she was imprisoned as a tribute, waiting to be offered to Ingzhou's envoy. The extremely angry Mermaid King used ice magic to freeze the entire Chuyun City. Then, she captured her lover who betrayed her and locked him up in her seabed castle. This incident caused the wrath of Ingzhou's Dragon City Lord. He sent out 2 elite teams to rescue Chuyun City. At the same time, they went all the way to the depths of the sea. The magic army destroyed the seal on the seabed and Dragon City's cavalry trampled the Mermaid King's castle. When they found the son of Chuyun City's city lord, he was already on the verge of death. The enraged Chuyun City Lord used the human's secret magic to seal the Mermaid King. From then on, she could only wander around the abandoned castle with infinite grief and anger. In the world of Lingshan, every player who enters this instance is tacitly recognized as a brave person who unintentionally broke into the forbidden area. They will overcome all obstacles and after clearing all the small monsters, the ultimate big boss of this instance will be refreshed, the Mermaid King full of grievances. The Mermaid King was a magic boss, equivalent to a human's ice mage. When she was not in a berserk state, although her attacks were very strong, Because all the spells needed to be chanted, when fighting her alone, as long as the player's operation could keep up with their awareness, it was still possible to slowly grind this boss to death. Su Wan fought this instance alone by relying on her own outstanding awareness and the priest's profession skills of healing and buffing. She used half an hour to clear the small monsters in the instance. At this time, Su Wan was already standing on the ruins of the old castle. A burst of red light flashed and the enchanting and beautiful mermaid king respawned. Su Wan could feel the strong aura of grief on her body. She sighed in her heart at Lingshan's production team's painstaking efforts. Su Wan did not hesitate to cast a weakening spell on the Mermaid King. 25 minutes later, the Mermaid King, dressed in gorgeous clothing, fell to the ground with a loud bang, turning into equipment and forging materials. Among them, there was also a Millennium Realm special collection, the Tear of the Mermaid King. Chapter 69. The Tear of the Mermaid King was, in fact, a heart-shaped blue crystal. This special collection was not cheap and could be exchanged for a lot of silver coins in the store. Of course, players who liked to collect could also keep this special collection as a souvenir. Su Wan sorted out her spoils of war and looked at her experience bar that had risen by 40%. She was very satisfied with the Tear of the Mermaid King and tossed it in the palm of her hand. The sparkling and translucent blue light carried a faint aura of sorrow. You must be particularly desperate, right? Su Wan looked at the crystal in her hand and sighed. Humans are selfish and men are even more heartless. If you were given a chance to start over again, would you still fall in love with that human? Ari. A drawn-out sigh suddenly sounded behind Su Wan. Su Wan suddenly turned around and saw the Mermaid King's light blue soul floating behind her. I have waited for 1,000 years and finally waited for you, foreign warrior. The Mermaid King's voice was particularly pleasant to listen to, like the sounds of nature. Su Wan clenched the crystal in the palm of her hand. Her face was calm, but her heart was slightly surprised. If she didn't guess wrong, she should have inadvertently triggered the hidden mission in the Millennium Realm. If time could flow back, I would definitely not fall in love with a human. The Mermaid King was still talking to herself, her tone sad. I have already been sealed for 1,000 years and now my soul is going to drift away. Before my soul flies away and scatters, I still have an unfulfilled wish. Foreign warrior, can you help me fulfill my last wish? As the Mermaid King's last word fell, a transparent dialogue box immediately popped up in front of Su Wan. Congratulations to player Su Wan for successfully triggering the hidden mission, Mermaid King's Wish, unique. Does the player accept the mission? The following options were willing and unwilling, and in the last column of the dialogue box, the mission reward was marked with a big question mark. Su Wan recalled the original plot. In Lingshan, there were a lot of hidden missions set up, but there were very few unique hidden missions. In the original world, Hui Mao Yi Xiao, who had heaven-defying luck and the Mary Sue aura off the charts, once took on 2 unique hidden quests. Those 2 quests were particularly difficult, and Hui Mao Yi Xiao finally completed the quests with the help of a group of pursuers, and thus obtained the entire server's only priest artifact angel staff, and the entire server's only fairy unicorn. In the plot that Su Wan knew of, no one had triggered the Mermaid King's wish, this task. It seems that those few words of hers triggered this task. I am willing to help you. In the end, Su Wan naturally chose to be willing. As a result, the Mermaid King's soul body just faintly smiled and the task panel in front of Su Wan immediately changed. Hidden quest. Mermaid King's Wish, unique, quest progress 0%, quest hint. The Mermaid King, who has been sealed for 1,000 years, misses her other clansmen. Please go to the Mermaid Country to find the abyssal fish demons and collect 100 amethyst ambers. Su Wan. Wasn't this hidden mission a little too overpowered? Damn the land of mermaids. That's a new map that will only appear after the new level is opened in half a year, okay? Su Wan's good mood just a moment ago vanished in an instant. She checked her equipment's wear and tear, thinking that White Wolf, that lingering ghost, didn't know if he was still guarding the door outside. In the end, Su Wan simply went offline in the instance. As long as the game time passes midnight, the instance can be refreshed again and she can continue to grind the Millennium Realm again. This time, Su Wan went offline relatively early. She used her phone to send a message to Supreme Emperor, then put on a coat and went out to buy food. Winter came especially early in Lijiang City. At this time, there were already people wearing cotton-padded overcoats and down jackets on the streets. Su Wan was considered a person who was relatively resistant to the cold. She wore a red woolen coat and a furry knitted scarf around her neck. She took a taxi to the largest chain supermarket near her home. Thinking that she would have to continuously fight in the game for the next few days, Su Wan bought a lot of fast food, chocolate, milk powder, and other highly nutritious and high-calorie foods. After paying the bill in the supermarket, Su Wan went to the fast food restaurant next to the supermarket to eat a pizza. After eating and drinking to her heart's content, Su Wan took a taxi back to her residence. At 7:30 in the evening, the street lights were first lit. Su Wan got out of the taxi and slowly walked into the corridor while carrying large and small bags. The light in the corridor of the new apartment-style building was still a dim orange color. Su Wan lived on the 5th floor. When she arrived at the door of her house, somewhat exhausted, she saw a black figure leaning against the door of her house. Hearing Su Wan's footsteps, that figure suddenly raised his head in the dim yellow light. The deep and gloomy eyes flashed a bright color. "You're back." Su Wan's voice was somewhat hoarse, but his tone still carried unconcealable joy. Su Wan frowned and her gaze fell on Su Wan's thin coat. She sighed, opened the door and threw a pair of women's slippers to Su Wan. "Just put up with it, there aren't any men's." Su Wan moved his limbs and followed Su Wan into the room. The dark red furry women's slippers looked particularly funny on Su Wan's feet, but he didn't seem to feel anything. He looked at the layout of the room and found that Su Wan's apartment still had 2 bedrooms and 1 living room. The corner of Su Wan's mouth immediately slightly rose. It seems that there was no need to rent another apartment next door. It's still better to live together and what not, love is the most. Su Wan sorted the things she bought from the supermarket and put them away. When she returned to the living room, she saw Su Rui frowning and playing with her cell phone. Seeing Su Wan's figure, Su Rui raised his cell phone. "There's a text message, I helped you reply." Such a matter-of-fact tone made Su Wan's face black lines. "Okay, let's talk business first." Su Wan sat on the other corner of the sofa and looked at Su Rui. "Why did you come? Don't tell me it's a coincidence again." The encounter in the last mission world could be a coincidence, but what about this time? How could there be so many coincidences in this world? The so-called fate, Su Wan never believed in it. "I bought a locator." Su Rui looked at Su Wan with a smile. "We can often do missions together in the future. Are you happy?" "Happy, my ass." Su Wan's face was gloomy. "If I didn't guess wrong, you should be walking the male supporting storyline, right? Our missions are in conflict, don't you know?" Su Rui. "There's such a thing?" General Su expressed that he didn't know at all. "Okay?" Seeing Su Rui's completely blank expression, Su Wan immediately felt tired. "Let's not talk about this, let's talk about your identity this time." According to Su Wan's mission experience, the male supporting in every world was very lofty. They made the cannon fodder unable to catch up to them, but they were ordered around by the female lead and occasionally didn't have a good ending. In this mission world, the female lead, Hui Mao Yi Xiao, carried the female lead halo of being loved by everyone who saw her, and she also had a rather awesome skill that attracted the hatred of all female players in the server. That is, any guild leader, male, as long as they see Hui Mao Yi Xiao, they will absolutely fall in love with her at first sight, fall in love with her when they meet again, won't marry anyone but you, pledge eternal love. It was because there were too many affectionate male supporting characters in this world, so now Su Wan was also uncertain what Su Rui's identity was right now. He should at least be the leader of a large guild, right? Hearing Su Wan ask about his identity, Su Rui couldn't help but raise his eyebrows and smiled at Su Wan. "This humble servant is Situ Yi, game ID Night Rain." Night Rain, Situ Yi. High City's Situ family's sole heir, Huaxia region's #1 ranked person, Huaxia's 6th district's #1 guild, Eternal Night Guild's leader. Situ Yi had too many identities in this world, but the meaning of this character's existence in life was used to dote on the female lead, and even to the point of sacrificing himself for the female lead and male lead's happy life. That's right, young Master Sichu, who was set to be delicate and weak, was using his life to be the second male lead. Chapter 70. When Su Wan entered this world, she was already familiar with the main plot of this mission world. At this time, hearing Su Rui speak of his identity, Su Wan instantly recalled Sichu Yi's life experience in her heart. Comparing her current level with Sichu Yi's level in her heart, Su Wan felt that this world was still full of dense malice, number one in all of Huaxia. What to do? Su Wan. Seeing Su Wan sitting on the sofa in a daze, Su Rui slowly moved to Su Wan's side, then shook her phone again and asked in a somewhat unclear tone, "Who the hell is Supreme Emperor?" "The boss of our studio." Su Wan answered somewhat dispiritedly. Originally, her starting point in the online game world was pitifully low. Now, compared to Su Rui, Su Wan didn't know why she felt especially irritated in her heart. It was that kind of indescribable and unclear emotion that made her entire person suddenly look a lot gloomy. "Boss?" Su Rui lifted his brows. "Is he familiar with you?" Just now, when Su Wan was in the kitchen, her cell phone kept ringing. Su Rui picked it up and glanced at it a few times. He saw that it was all text messages from Supreme Zun, basically asking about the game. Finally, he was still very concerned and asked her to eat on time, take care of her body and whatnot. Su Rui expressed that he was in a bad mood after reading the message. As a result, he blacklisted Supreme Emperor without hesitation. As for replying to the text message, General Su expressed that he was just casually saying it. Su Wan didn't know that Su Rui had already blacklisted Supreme Emperor. Hearing Su Rui's question, Su Wan just absent-mindedly shook her head, not too familiar, just temporarily cooperating. "Leveling up with them can be faster. I'll help you level up in the future." Su Rui's gaze brightened when he heard Su Wan mention leveling up. Then he turned his head and looked at Su Wan expectantly. There's still half a month before the cross-regional channel opens. At that time, the neutral map and the neutral battlefield will open. My current level is still passable. Once the neutral map opens, I'll take you there to level up. Although the mage was a fragile profession, it had to be said that this profession was the fastest to level up in Lingshan and had the most advantage in fighting monsters. You're really modest. You're first in the whole region, and you still say you're making do? Do I still want to live? Su Wan looked at Su Rui with a bit of a smile. Why didn't I find out that you have the virtue of modesty and courtesy before? I have a lot of good points. You have a lifetime to slowly discover them. Su Rui smiled and quietly moved closer to Su Wan's side. All right, it's time for me to log in. If you're tired, you can sleep in the guest room. We'll talk tomorrow. Su Rui watched as Su Wan returned to the bedroom and connected to the game cabin. General Su expressed that he wasn't happy at all. "Hello, Uncle Lee." Turning to the balcony, Su Rui immediately called his housekeeper. "When can my game cabin be flown over?" "What? Tomorrow morning?" Forget it, let's leave it at that for now." Hanging up the phone, Su Rui gazed at the bleak street outside the window, his eyes involuntarily narrowing. Su Wan returned to the game. She was still in the instance. In the empty instance, there was only her lonely figure. Su Wan leaned against the wall at the side and sat down. Right now, her character's mailbox had already exploded. Su Wan opened the snowflake-like mail. 90% of them were friend requests. Almost without looking carefully, Su Wan clicked to reject all of them. Then, she saw a few messages in her friend list. "Dawn Wind Waning Moon. Tianji has already revoked the order to kill you. Will we still be friends when we meet in the future? Dancing Baby. Idol Daran. I saw your video. Do you accept disciples? Can you accept me as a disciple? Supreme Zun. Why did you pull my number into the blacklist?" When the original owner left Shitian, she basically deleted all of her good friends in Shitian. Dawn Wind Waning Moon was the only one left. He was more tactful, but he wasn't that annoying. As the saying goes, when people leave, the tea cools down. At that time, after being killed by Yi Tian, Those backbones of Shitian Guild also participated in the operation to kill Su Wan. Only Elder Dawn Wind Waning Moon didn't make a move, but that was all. He didn't make a move, but he also didn't say a word for her. This was Dawn Wind Waning Moon's way of doing things. Su Wan thought about it and still deleted him from her friend list. Then, Su Wan gave Wu Baobao a smiley face. When it came to Supreme Zun, Su Wan hesitated for a bit and still replied with a sentence, "I didn't delete it." Then she left it at that. It wasn't 12 o'clock yet and the instance didn't reset. Su Wan finished dealing with her friend's information and looked at the world channel in boredom. At this time, there were actually people talking about her matters, but the focus of everyone's discussion had shifted from the competition with White Wolf to the suddenly revoked order to kill. It turned out that Lone Wolf was the first to revoke the order to kill, and Di Shitian also followed closely behind. This time, she finally didn't have to be on tenterhooks while leveling, but Su Wan still felt unhappy. She didn't like this kind of weak identity, but in the world of Lingshan, the level decided everything. When she entered the mission, it was the worst time. According to her current progress of solo clearing the instance every day, when the cross-regional channel opened, she estimated that she could only barely level up to around level 60. Only level 60, and now Su Rui's major count was already level 70. Su Wan sighed again. Sure enough, Su Rui's appearance made her feel very vexed. She clearly knew that using Su Rui would be the fastest way to achieve her goal. If it was the previous Su Wan, she wouldn't even think about it and would definitely use the most concise and fastest way to complete the mission. But now Su Wan's mood was very irritable. From the first time she saw Su Rui at the door of the house, she felt that her heart was a bit chaotic. This kind of strange and familiar emotion made Su Wan unwilling to stay in the room for even a second. She could only hide in the game now and slowly sort out her own emotions. After telling herself 100 times in her heart, "Calm down," Su Wan's expression slightly improved. She quietly went offline and came out of her bedroom. She found that the lights in the living room had been turned off and the door of the guest room on the side was closed. She didn't know if Su Rui was resting or doing something else. Su Wan went to the kitchen to pour a glass of water for herself, then turned around and returned to the bedroom to change into her pajamas to rest. The next morning, Su Wan was woken up by a burst of noise. She opened the bedroom door in a daze and saw a group of workers moving Lingshan's extra-large game chamber into her home in an orderly manner. "What do you mean?" Su Wan saw Su Rui sitting on the sofa in the living room, calm and unruffled. When Su Rui heard Su Wan's voice, he turned his head and saw her wearing light blue home clothes, standing at the door with a confused face. He suddenly felt that Su Wan's appearance was very cute. What should he do? Su Rui immediately stood up and walked in front of Su Wan, using his figure to cover her slender body. "Such a cute Su Wan, it's fine as long as he's the only one looking at it." Su Wan. Did you read some strange CEO novel again these days? Su Wan felt that the way Su Rui looked at her was really too strange, making her feel uncomfortable all over. "It's time for your game chamber to be replaced. These two are the latest Super Deluxe Limited Edition game chambers produced by TX Company that I specially ordered people to fly over. It's also a unique couple model. We'll each have one. Your machine number is 520 and mine is 521. While speaking, Su Rui slightly leaned sideways, one hand on the door frame, and lowered his eyes to look at Su Wan expectantly. "What the hell is this kind of begging you to quickly praise me expression? Su Rui, do you know that your character is getting more and more broken?" Right now, Su Wan was madly rolling her eyes in her heart, but she clearly misjudged Su Rui's fighting strength. What's called showing off your love to the death of a single dog? After the game crossed regions, Eternal Night Guild's guild leader, Night Rain, in addition to the title of the region's first, he was also given the nickname of Crazy, Arrogant, Dazzling, Cool, Amazing, Exploding, Heaven by the entire server's players. Crazy Love Demon. Chapter 71. As a literary and artistic young man, Yang Fan never liked to play online games, but after being pulled into Lingshan by his younger brother, Yang Fan felt that online games were actually quite fun. Of course, It would be great if Lingshan could change the game ID. Ice-cold little hands and whatnot. What the hell was that? He could only blame himself for being too stupid and naive. He didn't even know how to use a game ID. In the end, he was successfully fooled by his younger brother. The two brothers, ice-cold little hands and ice-cold little feet. Originally, his younger brother, Yang Liang, said that he would teach him to kill monsters and level up. As a result, during the open beta, his hand trembled and the two people actually chose different regions. In the end, could they still play happily? Well, in fact, Huaxia District 4 and Huaxia District 6, it doesn't sound too far. What the hell? Gee, you're distracted again. Yang Liang's voice interrupted Yang Fan's thoughts. Yang Fan pushed his glasses and looked up to see that he was standing in front of a row of women's supplies. Forcefully turning around calmly, Yang Fan was about to push the shopping cart around with a straight face, but he suddenly froze there. Heavens, heavens. I must be seeing things, hallucinating, right? Gee, what's wrong with you? Yang Liang saw his elder brother stop again and he couldn't help but step forward and wave his hand in front of Yang Fan's eyes. Did you see a ghost? No, it's not a ghost, it's the president. President. Because of Lingshan's high degree of restoration, everyone's character image was basically the same as in real life. Of course, some common faces still couldn't be found even if they were thrown into the crowd, but some people with outstanding looks would be very easy to remember. Su Rui clearly belonged to the kind of place where you can't forget once you see him. Today, Su Rui wore a khaki casual sweater and a black woolen windbreaker hung on his arm. His soft chestnut short hair was particularly refreshing. At this time, he was smiling as he followed Su Wan, talking to her while walking. His handsome face was full of gentleness. Yang Fan had never seen such a gentle Su Rui. In his impression, the president used to be very introverted and silent, and now he was especially expressionless like an iceberg. Could it be that the way he went to the supermarket today was wrong? When Yang Fan denied himself, Yang Liang followed Yang Fan's line of sight. I'll go. Long-legged oppa. Is that your president? Looks like a celebrity. Ayo, he's smiling so brightly. He must be a very nice person usually, right? The one beside him must be his girlfriend. TSK, he doesn't look bad, but he looks a little familiar. Holy shit. Isn't that Su Cheng Wanu? Su Cheng Wanu. Yang Fan, I think I also know a big secret. He wouldn't be silenced by the president and have his corpse destroyed, right? Well, as it turned out, Yang Fan was definitely thinking too much. At this time, Su Rui and Su Wan had already arrived in front of the Yang brothers and then brushed past them. Yang Fan, sob, I was ignored by the president. It was very obvious that Su Rui was born with an automatic immunity and disregard function for people other than Su Wan. The two people finally stopped in front of the row of women's products. Su Wan casually took a pack of sanitary pads, but it was snatched by Su Rui. WeChat said that there are a lot of fake goods from this brand. Xiao Wan, you don't need to use this. As he spoke, Su Rui smiled and took a pack from the top. The brand was foreign, purely imported, and the price was also blinding people's eyes. This is good, super thin, leak-proof, comfortable and breathable. Su Wan, are you sure you're not possessed by some strange thing? Su Rui. At this time, the Yang brothers who were watching from a close distance were already petrified. Yang Fan, I was wrong, I must have seen wrongly. This person must be the president's twin brother. It must be. Yang Liang, I'll go, that thing is so expensive. It's said that women have to use it every month. Then wouldn't I have to spend a lot more money every month when I marry a wife in the future? A certain someone, didn't you realize that the focus of your attention has gone astray? Su Wan and Su Rui naturally didn't know their psychological activities, but they felt that there were two lines of sight that had been intentionally or unintentionally falling on him and Su Wan, which made Su Rui feel very uncomfortable. He gently turned sideways and used the corner of his eyes to glance at the place where Yang Fan and Yang Liang were standing. The two brothers only felt a sharp and cold gaze piercing through the air. At that moment, the two people's hearts trembled, and then the two brothers coincidentally pushed the shopping cart and fled. What's wrong? At this time, Su Wn also felt Su Rui's abnormality at that moment. She couldn't help but turn her head and look at him. I'm fine. Su Rui put away the coldness in his eyes and looked at Su Wn with a beaming smile. These few days, you're not feeling well, so don't go on the game. Take a good rest for a few days. Buy more ingredients today, I'll cook for you. Cook! Thinking of General Su's cooking skills, Su Wan was also speechless. No need to be so troublesome, just order takeout. Although Su Wan didn't say it clearly, Su Rui also saw that his cooking skills were absolutely despised. How could this be? The overbearing CEOs in the novels were all able to enter the kitchen from the main hall, and they were also some international chefs and so on. Su Rui thought that the next time he looked for a task, he must find a gourmet world to properly improve his cooking skills. For 3 consecutive days, Su Wan did not go online. Supreme Zun and the others also did not contact Su Wan. Until the 3rd night, when Su Wan received Supreme Zun's transfer, did she know that Su Rui had already found Hurricane Studio and terminated the cooperation and employment relationship between her and Hurricane Studio. Regarding this, Su Wan didn't take it to heart. Now, she was no longer being chased by people. If she wanted to level up, she also didn't need other people's help. Now, Su Wan's first task was to quickly rise to level 60. The newly opened instance by the system was level 60. Currently, no guild had successfully opened it. According to the storyline that Su Wan knew, in the original world, it wasn't until after the cross-region opening that this level 60 instance was cleared by Shitian Guild. Everything relied on Hui Mao Yi Xiao's heaven-defying luck. Although her game operation wasn't good, the female lead, Daren's luck was unparalleled. That level 60 instance was a labyrinth instance and there were many forks in the road. Once you choose wrongly, you will walk into a dead end and be annihilated by the Berserk Monster Legion. And Di Shitian relied on Hui Mao Yi Xiao's intuition. In addition, at that time, the elite team in the guild's level and equipment were more or less upgraded. After the cross-region opening, they spurred on and took the instance's first kill. And in that instance, the first kill reward was a special skill book, Forced Resurrection level 60 Priest skill. After this skill is released, the released target will be forcefully resurrected and recover 20% of the user's HP and 20% of MP. This skill book was originally obtained by Di Shitian and Hui Mao Yi Xiao, and now Su Wan must snatch it into her hands. For Hui Mao Yi Xiao, this skill could only be used when Di Shitian was PK with an enemy. If she happened to follow at the side, she could occasionally use it. And for Su Wan, this was a skill book that she must obtain as a violent priest. Chapter 72. Lingshan gathered players from all over the world and Huaxia's 8 regions were the regions with the most players. After a few days, when Su Wan went online again, everyone no longer discussed her topic because there would be new news every day in Huaxia's 4 regions and there were new lively things to watch. Now, many people were paying attention to the latest developments on the official website, waiting for the system update and the opening of the cross-region channel after half a month. Su Wan was still clearing the Millennium Realm alone. The speed of clearing the instance also gradually became faster as she became more and more skilled and gradually increased her level and attack power. After spending money to buy the key to refresh the instance, Su Wan continuously cleared the instance for 2 days and did a few main quests. Then, she smoothly rose to level 50. After level 50, she would change to a new map, Quicksand Land. There was a barren desert there and there were all kinds of strange monsters occupying the desert. At this time, there were a lot of players training in Quicksand Land. Almost all the places with dense monsters were occupied by the big guilds. The other 3 players could only find a place with fewer monsters to slowly level up or find another way and form a team to level up in a high-level monster area. In Lingshan, the greater the difference in level between the monsters and the players, the more experience you would get from killing monsters. However, opportunities and dangers coexisted when killing monsters of a higher level. This was because in Lingshan, starting from level 55, monsters on all level maps would take the initiative to attack monsters and their lethality wasn't low. If you didn't have a strong sense of operation and rashly formed a team to kill monsters of a higher level, you would definitely die miserably. Sue Wan, on the other hand, didn't have this worry because she was very confident in her awareness and operation. More importantly, after reaching level 50, she obtained a priest's first group attack skill, Holy Light Technique. This was a priest's essential skill for fighting monsters and leveling up. Level 60 Wild Map, Lulan Underground Palace. At this time, there weren't many players who reached level 60 in the game, and Lulan Underground Palace had a total of 5 floors. The monsters on each floor were very dense and their attacks were also very sharp. Therefore, there weren't many people fighting monsters on this map every day. When Ice Cold Small Feet and his teammates, Ends of the Earth, entered the first floor of the underground palace, the monsters at the entrance seemed to have just been cleared by someone. There were still collected items on the ground that hadn't disappeared. The monsters here were level 60 and were the lowest level monsters in the entire underground palace. Ice Cold Small Feet had just reached level 57. He and Ends of the Earth had already been here for 3 days. The two planned to go to the second floor of the underground palace to farm when they reached level 58. "We're late today," Ends of the World sighed. Although Wolf's Fang did not have a good reputation, as a high-quality player, Ends of the World did not like to use his guild to suppress others. He also did not like to steal kills from others. "Let's go around the corner. There are quite a lot of monsters there." As they spoke, Icy Cold Small Feet had already entered the underground palace. Ends of the Earth followed closely behind him. Not long after, the two of them heard the sounds of battle. Looking towards the source of the sound, they immediately saw a slender figure wielding a priest's staff among the dark green underground palace guards. Her movements were extremely fast, and the time she cast her skills was just before the cooldown of each skill ended. She didn't waste a single second. "It is Su Cheng Wanu." Although he couldn't see the person in the middle of the group of mobs, he could tell that it was a female cleric based on her skills. There were only a handful of female shepherds in all of China's 4 servers that could do this. Moreover, the person who was leveling up on the first floor of the underground palace was obviously not level 60 yet, so it was easy to guess this person's identity. "Su Cheng Wanu." Hearing Ends of the Earth's words, Icy Cold Small Feet suddenly exclaimed. This cry did not disturb Su Wan, who was concentrating on leveling up not far away. Instead, it attracted the attention of a small team that had just entered the first floor of the underground palace behind them. "Hey! The two Wolf's Fang in front. What do you guys want to do?" A crisp female voice rang behind the two people. Immediately, a young and cute female cleric wearing a light green priest robe appeared beside the two people. "Speak. Do you guys want to sneak attack my master? Are you tired of living? Do you guys want to withdraw like White Wolf? Ends of the Earth, your master? Su Cheng Wanu." Icy Cold Small Feet. What does White Wolf withdrawing have to do with Su Cheng Wanu? Wait, maybe it really is related. Icy Cold Small Feet suddenly remembered that everyone in the guild was talking about White Wolf withdrawing because his family went bankrupt and whatnot. It seems like the day he withdrew was the day he and Big Brother met their guild leader and Su Cheng Wanu in the supermarket, right? Could it be? Unknowingly, Icy Cold Small Feet had already imagined a melodramatic annual drama, and the truth of the matter was naturally very different from the content of his imagination. But one thing he felt was right, making Bai family go bankrupt and whatnot, it was indeed Su Rui's doing. Heavenly Cold Wang Po, this was one of the necessary skills of an overbearing CEO that Su Rui learned in the novel. Using it was simply awesome. Right now, Ends of the Earth still didn't know that his unreliable teammate was imagining things. He raised his eyes and looked at this female cleric who looked like a student. She was wearing level 50 equipment and seemed to have come here to level up. But Wu Baobao. He didn't have any impression of this name, but the person behind her. Wufeng. Ends of the Earth heard of this warrior before. He was a very powerful character. Once, an elder in the guild wanted to rope him into the guild, but in the end, he refused. Out of fear of Wufeng, Ends of the Earth couldn't help but explain, "The two of us also came here to level up and don't want to have any conflicts with others. If there's nothing else, we'll leave first." As he spoke, He pulled the still absent-minded icy-cold small feet and the two people quickly walked in another direction. Humph, at least you're sensible. Wu Baobao clenched her fists behind them. Fire and Ice on the side could only helplessly smile, and then he also looked at Su Wn not far away. Right now, she had already eliminated a batch of monsters and was currently luring the second batch. Feng Ge, how about we still team up with her? Fire and Ice Walker's impression of Su Wn was also pretty good, not to mention that she was still his cousin's idol. Don't go over, let's also change a place to level up. Wu Feng, who hadn't made a sound all this time, said in a low voice and then turned to leave. Ice and Fire and Wu Baobao could only quickly follow behind him. The two of them were usually brought along by Wu Feng to level up and didn't understand the common sense of the game too much. Just now, Wu Feng observed for a long time and discovered that although Su Cheng Wu was a priest, the speed at which she farmed monsters was not slower than a mage. Moreover, when a mage lures monsters, they don't dare to lure too many at once because their health is low. But a priest is different. Su Cheng Wu can heal herself at any time, so she can unscrupulously keep luring monsters. Calculating like this, the experience that she gets by herself is actually much more than what they get by teaming up with them. Huaxia District 6, Eternal Night Guild. Although Su Rui had a record of not going online for a few days, his level was still far ahead of other players. And now, after going online again, Su Rui was even more frenzied as he reached the level 80 map in the wild. This was currently Lingshan's highest level map. Seeing that Leader Daren's level had already risen 2 levels in a row today to the level 72 that people have no choice but to look up to, the entire guild channel boiled over Delicate and Pretty Beauty. What's wrong with Leader Daren? How about not going online for 3 days and then going online to rise 3 levels in a row? Chu Yun Poet, Leader Daren is formidable. Melancholic Sheep, I checked the Leader Daren's coordinates. He's actually in the level 80 map in the wild. Truly too amazing. Delicate and Pretty Beauty, 9494, with such a greasy Leader Daren, wait until we cross the district, then our eternal night will be invincible. Chu Yun Poet, why is Little Hands so quiet today? Ice Cold Little Hands, Ice Cold Little Hands, who just went online, expressed, I just want to be a quiet handsome man. Delicate and Pretty Beauty, Little Hands, your great-aunt came? Ice Cold Little Hands, inexplicably thinking of the encounter in the supermarket, what to do? As if possessed by ghosts and gods, Ice Cold Little Hands typed a line of words in the guild channel. Ice Cold Little Hands, I bumped into Su Cheng Wu. Delicate and Pretty Beauty, Night Rain, when? Melancholic Sheep, Leader Daren appeared again. Delicate and Pretty Beauty, capturing a domineering Leader Daren alive. Chu Yun Poet, hello Leader Daren, it's been hard on the Leader Daren to level up. At this time, because Su Rui once again disorderly entered, the originally lively guild channel boiled over even more. In addition to these few talkative people, other guild members who lurked all year round also began to bubble. Looking at the guild channel that was flooded, Su Rui frowned. He opened the guild member list, found Ice Cold Little Hands and immediately sent a private chat. Night Rain, where did you meet Su Cheng Wu? Chapter 73. As a core member of the Eternal Night Guild, Ice Cold Little Hands naturally had Su Rui as a friend. But it had been almost 4 months since the server opened and he had never received a private message from the guild leader. Today was the first time he received a private message from the guild leader. Night Rain, where did you meet Su Cheng Wu? Little Icy Cold Hands stared at that sentence for a long time, and for a moment, his hands really felt cold. How should I answer? If he spoke the truth, would he be silenced by the guild leader? Randomly make up a story to fool them? If the president found out about this in the future, would he bring up the past? After a few seconds of mental struggle, Ice Cold Little Hands quickly thought of an excuse and replied to Su Rui. Ice Cold Little Hands, my family is from Lijiang City. I accidentally saw her a few days ago on the streets. Night Rain, you know her? Su Rui's reply was very quick. Although Su Cheng Wu was considered a celebrity in the entire Huaxia region, other than the people in the 4th district who had seen her in person, very few people in the other districts recognized her. Hearing Little Hands say that he was from Lijiang, Su Rui already believed his words. It's just that Su Rui went through the plot in his mind once and didn't discover that in this world, Ice-Cold Little Hands and the original Su Wn knew each other. What was going on? Seeing Su Rui's reply, Little Hand hesitated for a moment before quickly replying. Ice-Cold Little Hands, I don't know her, but my younger brother is in the 4th District's Wolf's Fang Guild. He knows Su Cheng Wanu. Night Rain, people from Wolf's Fang? Pursued and killed Su Cheng Wanu? Ice-Cold Little Hands, no, absolutely not. Although he couldn't see the guild leader's expression, when he thought of the guild leader's cold and sharp gaze in the supermarket that day, Little Icy Cold Hands felt as if his heart had been pierced through. So when he heard Su Rui's question, he immediately denied it. Thinking about it, Ice-Cold Little Hands couldn't help but send Su Rui a message. Little Icy Cold Hands, my brother and I are both peace-loving players. He would never kill anyone. Night Rain, oh Night Rain, tell him to quit Wolf's Teeth. Leaving the last sentence, Su Rui went offline again. Ice-Cold Little Hands, President, what did you mean by that last sentence? Could it be that you want to? For some reason, Little Icy Cold Hands shivered. His eyes flashed, and he quickly logged out of the game, frantically farming experience for a day in the underground palace. When Su Wn went offline, her game character was already level 53. Exiting the game connection, Su Wn moved her slightly stiff limbs. When she came out of the bedroom, she unsurprisingly saw Su Rui busying himself in the kitchen. These few days, he didn't personally cook, but our family's young master Sichu poached the head chef of the biggest hotel in Lijiang City. As a matter of fact, the 5-star chef was cooking while he, the young master, was happily assisting the chef. Seeing Su Rui wearing an apron and running around in the kitchen, Su Wan couldn't help but smile. This was the first time she felt that there was nothing bad about being in the same world as Su Rui, even if she had to split a portion of the points. Of course, whether he could get the points from her or not was another matter. The two people's dinner consisted of 4 dishes and 1 soup. It was nutritious and exceptionally delicious. After eating, the two people found a comfortable position to nestle on the sofa. Su Rui wanted to watch a TV series, while Su Wan lazily held her tablet and absent-mindedly operated her stock account. After this period of short-term operation, Su Wan's account already had millions of deposits, and now she invested most of her net worth into TX's stocks. After Lingshan crosses servers, TX Company's stocks will rise wildly, and at that time, because they saw the huge potential and unlimited business opportunities, their group will stop selling their stocks. Moreover, they will buy back the stocks scattered in the hands of small shareholders at a price higher than the market price by 30%. At that time, these stocks will truly not be exchanged for even 1,000 gold coins. The next day, Su Wan was still farming monsters on the first floor of the underground palace. Today, she saw Windless and the other two people again. Everyone greeted each other. Su Wan thought that the 3 of them would still be farming monsters at another location like yesterday. Who knew that after greeting each other, Windless would unexpectedly come to Su Wan's side. While brandishing his blade to repel the small monsters beside him, Windless issued an invitation to Su Wan at the same time. Phoenix Dances in the 9th Heavens Guild leader, Windless, has sent you an invitation to join. Do you want to join? Su Wan only noticed the brand new guild title on top of Windless' head at this time. You guys set up your own guild? Su Wan had no impression of this guild name. Presumably, this should be the guild they set up themselves. Yes, Xiao Wu wants to set up a guild to play. Windless heard Su Wan's words and replied in a low voice. This may be the so-called butterfly effect. In the original plot, when Dancing Baby entered Lingshan, the original owner Su Wan already deleted her account and didn't play anymore. Knowing that her idol quit the server, Dancing Baby lacked interest and didn't play for a few days before leaving the game. And Binghua Walker, who always played well with her, also followed Dancing Baby and quit the server to play other games. Among the 3 people, only Windless, who was used to playing alone, was left. He persisted until the end, but because of his personality, he never joined any guild, let alone set up his own guild. And now, Su Wan was still in the game, Dancing Baby, and the others were also there. Under Dancing Baby's persuasion, Windlass established his own guild, Phoenix Dances, in the ninth heaven. In front of numerous domineering guilds, they were a weak and small new guild. But it was this guild that was not looked upon favorably by everyone. In the near future, it will dominate the entire server. If you are willing to join, I can transfer the guild leader position to you. Windlass once again said beside Su Wan. In fact, he originally planned to let his younger sister be the guild leader because the name of this guild was very suitable for a female guild leader. Unfortunately, Xiao Wu really didn't have any interest. Moreover, her level was low and her reputation wasn't prominent. She was also a student. Once she became the guild leader, it would be very difficult for the guild to recruit members. In desperation, Windlass could only become the guild leader himself. And now, he had an even better choice. In Windlass' view, Su Chengwu was very suitable to be the guild leader. She had many years of experience managing guilds and was also famous in District 4. Now, her level was also not low. He believed that as long as she opened her mouth to recruit people, there would still be a portion of scattered players willing to join this new guild. I can join the guild, but the guild leader is out of the question. You think highly of me. Let me be the vice guild leader. While speaking, Su Wan already accepted Windlass' invitation. She really needed a guild and a group of trustworthy people. Windlass' invitation came at the right time. At this moment, a weak male voice rang out from behind the two of them. Su Wan turned her head and saw ice-cold small feet and ends of the earth standing not too far away. Can we join your guild? Ice-cold small feet's voice was somewhat lacking in confidence. Su Wan didn't recognize them, but Windlass remembered these two people. If he didn't remember wrongly, these two people were still members of Wolf's Fang yesterday. Even if they quit Wolf's Fang, it was impossible for the current Windlass to add former Wolf's Fang members into his guild. Because when he first established the guild, his younger sister's only request was that after the guild reached level 3, he must list Wolf's Fang and Shitian, these two major guilds, as his own guild's enemy guild. Won't rest until one side is dead. Seeing that Windlass silently left and didn't even look at him, ice-cold small feet turned around and looked at Su Wan with sparkling eyes. Su Chengwu, accept us. It was my older brother who told me to come and seek shelter with you. Your older brother? Su Wan continued to fight monsters and chat at the same time. When ice-cold small feet heard Su Wan ask about his older brother, he immediately excitedly said, my older brother is called Ice-Cold Small Hands. He's in District 6 Eternal Night Guild. His Night Reigns guild leader's good friend. It was him who told me to come and find you. Please accept the two of us. Ice-Cold Small Hands. Su Wan knew that there was such a person in Su Rui's guild. It seems that the other party didn't lie. And in this world, other than the people that Su Rui knew, there really wasn't anyone else who knew about her relationship with Su Rui. Only Su Rui's good friend. Chapter 74. In the end, Su Wan still added ice-cold little hands and ends of the earth into the guild. Seeing the two people entering the guild, Windlass was somewhat surprised at first. Later, Su Wan told him that she knew these two people and could trust them, so Windlass didn't say anything. Right now, there were only 6 of them in the guild. Seeing Su Wan enter the guild, the happiest was Dancing Baby. She originally had no intention of leveling, so she simply left the team and returned to the main city, starting to use the loudspeaker to recruit new people in the World Channel. The remaining 5 people just happened to form a small team. 2 mags, 2 priests, 1 warrior. This was the best configuration to farm experience. Apart from Fiery Ice Walker, the other 4 people were all old players. Regarding how to carry out the best team coordination, everyone had a clear idea. Small Ice-Cold Little Feet, as a fire mage, and Fiery Ice Walker, the 2 people split into 2 paths and began to infinitely attract monsters on the map. Windlass served as the main MT responsible for resisting monsters and attracting aggro. Su Wan and Ends of the Earth, the 2 priests were responsible for healing Windlass from time to time. The 5 people slowly got used to each other and gradually cooperated seamlessly. After farming for an hour, because their levels increased, they left the first floor of the underground palace and entered the second floor of the underground palace. At this time, the Phoenix Dances Guild's channel was also extraordinarily lively. Because Dancing Baby generously kept using gold coins and props to recruit people in the World Channel, she really did find some scattered players. When these 3 players entered the guild and saw that the guild leader was Windless, they first froze for a moment. Because among the scattered players, Windless had a very high reputation, and now that he created his own guild, everyone was still very optimistic about the prospects of this guild. Immediately, there were sharp-eyed people who discovered that the vice leader of the guild was impressively Su Cheng Wnu. Everyone immediately lost their composure. Who is Su Cheng Wnur? That was once Shitian's vice leader, a place that was below 1 person and above tens of thousands of people. Don't look at how she had been turned white before, but now, she actually rushed to level 55 again, and everyone knew that her character still retained the high-level priest skills that she originally obtained when Shitian opened the dungeon. For a time, the guild's newcomers spread from 1 to 10, 10 to 100. Very soon, the entire Huaxia District 4 knew that Windless established a guild and the guild's vice leader was Su Cheng Wnu. Regarding this, Wolf's Fang and Shitian didn't express any opinion. Seeing that Wolf's Fang and Shitian didn't have the intention to pursue the matter, those second-line guilds' guild leaders began to secretly regret. If they knew that Su Cheng Wnu's comeback would be so easy, they should have made the first move to gain the upper hand. As a result, Su Wan's game mailbox was once again flooded. Su Wan, who was currently farming experience, simply didn't have time to look and directly blocked them. Meanwhile, on the guild's side, as an elder, Dancing Baby's hands had grown tired of accepting new members. Unfortunately, a level 1 guild could only have a maximum of 100 members. Hence, the guild was quickly filled to the brim. On the other hand, she was very satisfied with organizing everyone to do guild quests together. This way, they would be able to quickly rise to a level 2 guild and increase the number of members from the original 100 to 300. A newly formed guild was like a newly established chat group, always very lively. Although they knew that Su Wan, Windless and the others were farming experience in the underground palace and didn't have time to chat, the guild's newcomers still entertained themselves and chatted happily in the guild channel. Icy Cold Small Feet, who had always liked to join in on the fun, took advantage of the gap of just eliminating a group of monsters and secretly glanced at the guild channel. As a result, he saw that everyone was YY about Su Cheng Wnu and Windless relationship. All kinds of guesses, all kinds of jokes, and all kinds of together comments. This made Icy Cold Small Feet couldn't help but slip and his entire person almost fell to the ground. A group of mortals actually still dared to make presumptuous guesses. You guys are definitely tired of living. Remembering the Eternal Night Guild's guild leader that he had met once, Icy Cold Small Feet turned around and secretly sized up Windless. Although Windless was also quite handsome, after all, he was young and didn't have any imposing manner. Compared to Night Rain, he was immediately defeated, right? Moreover, Icy Cold Small Feet also heard his older brother say last night that their guild leader was getting more and more insane. If Night Rain knew these people's thoughts, Icy Cold Small Feet felt that these people would definitely die very miserably, very miserably. The 5-person team kept farming on the second floor of the underground palace until they went offline at night. Su Wan was already level 57 at this time, Binghua Walker was level 56, Ends of the Earth and Icy Cold Small Feet had also entered the ranks of level 60. Windless was level 59, still lacking a large amount of experience from advancing to 60. The 5 people agreed on the time to go online the next day and went offline together. Today, they farmed for a day and Su Wan had been maintaining high-intensity output and replenishment. Coming out of the game connection chamber, Su Wan's complexion was a bit pale. She had to say that in this mission world, not only did her ex-girlfriend's hardware equipment not pass, even the software was a lot worse than Su Rui's. This kind of high-intensity continuous online really wasn't what an average girl could bear. Because she was really too tired, Su Wan filled a bathtub full of hot water in the bathroom of the room. She planned to take a bath first to relieve her fatigue. As a result, she unknowingly fell asleep while soaking. By the time Su Wan woke up, she discovered that she had already returned to the bed in the bedroom. She had already changed into clean pajamas and Su Rui was leaning over her bedside. Her hand was still tightly held in Su Rui's palm. Su Wan didn't pull out her hand. She just slightly turned her face to the side and quietly looked at Su Rui's sleeping appearance with the help of the faint wall lamp at the head of the bed. When he was sleeping, that tranquil posture was like a flawless and innocent child. It was very hard for people to imagine that he was once a homicidal maniac. Or perhaps, in Su Rui's world, right and wrong, good and evil had always been particularly simple and pure. What he loved, he would use everything to protect. What he hated, he would use all means to destroy it and make it disappear. Su Rui, if you could always be like this, how good would that be? You shouldn't like me. I'm not worthy of your love. Su Wan felt that she wasn't worthy of Su Rui's infatuation. She wasn't a pure person. She had done a lot of unscrupulous things that went against her conscience. And when she did those things, she wasn't as simple and straightforward as Su Rui. Her heart had been dyed into a pitch-black color a long time ago, a black that couldn't be washed away no matter how much she washed it. I'm not happy. I don't want anyone to be happy. This is me, Su Wan. Su Wan softly sighed. The weak sigh couldn't escape Su Rui's sharp ears. He slowly woke up and his confused eyes met Su Wan's gaze. You're awake, Su Rui said while raising his hand. His slender and powerful big hand very naturally caressed Su Wan's long hair. In this world, Su Wan's hair was long and straight, especially smooth to the touch. Thank you. Su Wan didn't avoid Su Rui's hand and instead thanked him in a low voice. You're too tired, you need to rest. Su Rui didn't like to hear Su Wan say thank you to him. He focused his gaze and his tone was especially serious. I know you're very capable, Su Wan. But in the online world, your abilities and talents are limited by objective conditions. Now isn't the time for you to show off. You still have me. Everything is fine if you rely on me. I won't rely on anyone. Su Wan's cold gaze looked at Su Rui and her tone became somewhat bitingly cold, but, I can use anyone. In this world, other than herself, she couldn't rely on anyone else. Because when relying on someone becomes a habit that you can't get rid of, that person will become your everything in life. You'll be happy because he's happy and sad because he's sad. When one day, he leaves without looking back, who can you still rely on? Su Wan had experienced that kind of despair before. It was an unforgettable experience. She admitted that she was a coward. Because she was ruthlessly hurt, the current her didn't dare to believe in any feelings and was also unwilling to give a trace of sincerity. She had long been afraid. Being stared at coldly by Su Wan, Su Rui just indifferently smiled. It's fine if you don't rely on me. You're welcome to use me at any time. If you're willing, you must use me for a lifetime. No matter how cold and inhuman she pretended to be, Su Rui's perception had always been extraordinarily strong. In that moment just now, he captured the fear and panic in Su Wan's emotions. She was afraid of his approach. She was terrified of this feeling. This made Su Rui feel a bit distressed. Sometimes, we always meet the wrong person at the right time. And at the wrong time, we will meet the truly right person by some strange coincidence. And at that time, do you still have the strength and courage to courageously love again? A moth flies into a flame, at the cost of its life. If that moth had the chance to be reborn, would it still throw itself into the sea of fire without hesitation? Chapter 75. Before Lingshan Game updated the cross-server channel, Su Wan finally rose to level 60. The 5-person team that farmed experience together finally got the chance to rest. Windless went offline because of some private matters. Ice-Cold Small Feet and Binghua Walker couldn't wait to join the guild channel and chat with other guild members. Of course, the main content of the chat was mainly flirting, harmoniously, with beauties. Ends of the Earth, who spoke as little as Windless, silently went to complete a mission by himself. He and Ice-Cold Small Feet were classmates in real life. Regarding that guy's degree of derailing, he had long since known in detail. Su Wan also continued to do some main and side missions outside the city. After finishing those missions that had been put aside for a long time, she went offline early. Tomorrow was the day the game system was updated and upgraded. She could have a good rest for a day. This was the first time Su Wan went offline earlier than Su Rui. The temperature in Lijiang City was getting colder day by day. When Su Wan walked to the living room, she unexpectedly saw sporadic snowflakes floating outside the living room window. It's snowing. Su Wan involuntarily walked to the window and looked at the snowflakes fluttering in the air. Her expression was especially serene. When Su Rui came out of the guest room, he saw Su Wan standing quietly by the window. She didn't know how long she had been standing there. Her whole body was filled with a lonely aura. Hungry? I'll call the chef to come over in advance. Su Rui walked behind Su Wan. As he spoke, he raised his hand to hold her shoulders. Su Wan just happened to turn around at this time. Let's go out for a walk today and eat outside on the way. Regarding Su Wan's proposal, Su Rui never refused. So after the two people dressed neatly, they went downstairs together. In the vast expanse of white flying snow, the two people walked side by side on the cold street, their steps slow and the atmosphere harmonious. After walking for a while, a layer of sparkling and translucent white snow had fallen on top of the two people's heads. Taking advantage of waiting for the traffic light, Su Rui turned around and raised his hand to sweep the white snow on Su Wan's head. Su Wan also tiptoed and swept the snow-white snow on Su Rui's shoulder. The two people were very close to each other, the white air they exhaled entangled together. Seeing that Su Wan's fingers were frozen red, Su Rui couldn't help but use his big hand to tightly hold Su Wan's hand in his palm. Su Wan didn't say anything and quietly followed Su Rui. She let him lead her across the road and let him lead her hand into a couple's restaurant. Until Su Rui finished ordering, Su Wan still had a tranquil look on her face. You're so quiet today. Su Rui looked at Su Wan and whispered, is something on your mind? No, I'm always this quiet when I want to scheme against others. Su Wan suddenly gave Su Rui a brilliant smile. Seeing her smile, Su Rui couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Are you planning to settle the score with Di Shitian and Hui Mao Yixiao? Yeah. I've waited too long for this opportunity. Su Wan supported her cheek with one hand and turned her head to look at Su Rui on the other side of the table. After tomorrow's update, Huaxia's 8 major districts will realize information sharing, and the underground Imperial Palace is the first instance that all guilds want to snatch. Will you participate? The underground Imperial Palace was the new level 60 instance that appeared after the last system update. It was currently the highest level and most difficult instance in Lingshan. Su Rui's gaze flickered and the corner of his mouth curled up. What, you want that first kill? That's right. Su Wan nodded. I want the first kill. Of course, what I want the most is actually that special skill in the first kill reward. Then I wish you success. Su Rui raised his eyebrows at Su Wan, his voice carrying a trace of joy. Su Wan lowered her eyes and raised them again after a moment. She smiled and looked at Su Rui. This time, I still need you to help me with something. Of course, you can raise your conditions. Any conditions? Su Rui slightly leaned forward, narrowed his eyes and dangerously looked at Su Wan. Su Wan somewhat fearlessly looked back at Su Rui. What do you want? A. Su Rui leaned against the chair and looked at Su Wan helplessly. Forget it, I can't think of it now. I'll think of it later. Okay. Su Wan lightly lowered her eyelids, hiding the smile in her eyes. The two people ordered a couple's set meal. After eating, it was already very late. The snow was getting heavier and the entire street was a vast expanse of whiteness. Coming out of the restaurant, facing the biting cold wind and the sky full of fluttering snow, Su Rui's gaze was absent-minded for a moment. Some distant and fuzzy memories flashed through Su Rui's mind. He suddenly pulled Su Wan's hand and looked at her vaguely. I'll carry you home, okay? As he spoke, he had already gently bent down. Su Wan did not answer and wordlessly jumped onto Su Rui's back. Facing the wind and snow, Su Rui was silent the whole way, leaving behind a string of footprints in the snow. Su Wan stuck her face on Su Rui's back and a pair of hands tightly hugged his neck. The world was silent. Su Wn felt as if she could hear Su Rui's heartbeat. Beat, 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 especially powerful heartbeat. Su Rui. Not knowing how long had passed, Su Wn suddenly spoke in a low voice. Because her face was still buried in his back, Su Wan's voice was muffled right now. Are you thinking of your sister? Sister. A distant yet familiar word. Su Rui's footsteps slightly paused, and finally continued to stride forward. I know, sister actually died a long time ago. In the cold wind, Su Rui's voice was somewhat dull and low. After entering the lost space, he had actually looked up all the plots of the plane he was in. I don't like Shenyuan Rui. He doesn't give people a good feeling. I just simply want to protect sister, just like how she protected me when I was a child. However, she doesn't seem to like my protection. Speaking of his sister, Su Rui's face was somewhat gloomy. His perception was sharper than anyone else since he was a child. At that time, his father was strict and his mother was indifferent. The only thing that made him feel warm and comfortable was his sister's care and love. The little Su Rui swore in his heart that he would properly protect his sister for the rest of his life, but then Shenyuan Rui appeared. Sister fell in love with Shenyuan Rui. That was a seemingly gentle and refined prince. Su Rui did not like him. Even Su Rui had vaguely foreseen that his sister would not be happy with him. He did everything he could to prevent his sister from being together with him. As a result, his sister began to alienate and loathe him. His father's attitude towards him became even more indifferent. Even his mother, who didn't care about him all year round, also sighed at him. Slowly, Su Rui began to give up. He thought that even if he was alone in this life, he could still continue to live, right? So in the following years, Su Rui became more and more indifferent, more and more ruthless, more and more paranoid. Until Su Wan appeared. Perhaps in everyone's life, there will be such a person. He or she will appear inadvertently and then quietly leave. Obviously, it's only a short period of time, but that instant of palpitation and heartbeat can make you remember it for a lifetime. Su Wan in Su Rui's life was such a role. Chapter 76. Lingshan World's highly anticipated cross-district passage was finally opened. When Su Wan went online again, the entire World Channel was in full swing discussing which district's Supreme Guild would get the first kill of the underground Imperial Palace dungeon. It must be known that this was the first kill after the information was shared. No matter which guild got it, it would be a gargantuan honor. After Su Wan went online, she saw that Windless was also online. She immediately contacted Windless and talked about the dungeon. Windless was still very unfamiliar with the underground Imperial Palace dungeon. Because he had never entered it, he didn't know how troublesome it was inside. Therefore, Windless was full of confidence in this dungeon. He immediately pulled up the team, still the original 5 people. When everyone followed the team leader and teleported to the entrance of the underground Imperial Palace dungeon, Fire Ice Walker was immediately shocked by the sea of people in front of him. And Dancing Baby, who used a teleportation scroll to come and watch the excitement, widened her eyes even more and couldn't help but exclaim heaven. Heavens! Heavens! Why are there so many people? Right now, the elite members of Huashia's 4 districts that could be called out with their names were basically all present. Among the large group of people, Di Tian was still the most dazzling one. And Hui Mao Yi Xiao followed at Di Tian's side, holding a bottle of yogurt with a confused face and drinking with gusto with a bottle of yogurt with a little penguin drawn on it. That was a special blood replenishing prop in Lingshan World. On normal days, very few people used it to replenish blood, but this thing looked very cute and was very popular with little girls. As for Hui Mao Yi Xiao, who was no longer a little girl, she actually also had such an innocent and pure side. Regarding this, Su Wan only wanted to laugh. Wan Yu Jejie? She had to say that between women and women, especially between current girlfriends and ex-girlfriends, there seemed to be a telepathic connection. Su Wan only glanced at Hui Mao Yi Xiao in the crowd and was immediately discovered by the naturally confused Hui Mao Yi Xiao. She loudly called out and with a smile on her face, she bounced in front of Su Wan. Wan Yu Jejie, you guys also came to do the dungeon? This dungeon is very difficult. Listen, what an intimate address, what a sweet voice, but you're actually mocking us for overestimating ourselves, right? And making such a loud voice. Are you afraid that others won't know that I came? Su Wn lazily lifted her eyes and swept Hui Mao Yixiao a glance. Her tone was as indifferent as ever. If I remember correctly, I'm younger than you by a month. Hui Mao Yixiao right now, a lot of people in the surroundings were attracted by Hui Mao Yixiao's WNU Jejie just now. There were even busybodies who immediately approached without leaving a trace, wanting to watch Di Shitian's new love and old love from a close distance. Unfortunately, Su Wan's reaction was too cold. Moreover, she's a month younger and whatnot. Goddess WNU, you really are indifferently cute. Hui Mao Yixiao was indeed older than the original Su Wn by a month, but Su Wn was normally too strong, and Hui Mao Yixiao liked to pretend to be naive, causing everyone to feel that Hui Mao Yixiao was much younger than Su Wn in Shitian Guild. Right now, she was mercilessly disgraced by Su Wan. Hui Mao Yixiao once again put on the most common delicate and pitiful appearance, as if she had suffered a huge grievance. Slightly pouting her red lips, red eyes, even her voice was trembling. So it turns out that WNU Jie, no, it turns out that WNU Mai is younger than me, I never knew. Su Wan really didn't like to see her pitiful appearance. She turned around and was about to leave, but Di Shitian just happened to walk to the two people's side. Seeing his beloved little person's face full of grievance, Di Shitian's face immediately darkened and looked at Su Wan with an ice-cold gaze. WNU, don't bully people too much. I've already been lenient with you, don't force me to be ruthless. Oh. Su Wan somewhat found it funny and raised her head to look at Di Shitian. I still haven't done anything to your woman, why are you so anxious to show your loyalty? Wait until the day I turn her white, then it won't be too late for you to find me for revenge. Also, you're welcome to be ruthless with me, I wait. As she spoke, Su Wan didn't even look at Di Shitian and Hui Mao Yixiao. Without consulting anyone, she bypassed the two people. The four people at the side silently followed. Standing at the very back, Wu Baobao, who had been watching the bustling scene, giggled and came in front of Hui Mao Yixiao because she didn't need to fight the instance. She opened her mouth with a serious face and said, Auntie, can you not casually pout your mouth and pretend to be pitiful in the future? Your age is really not suitable for acting cute. Hui Mao Yixiao, Di Shitian, onlookers, could it be that this is the legendary God's second stab? Time passed bit by bit and the teams at the instance's entrance became fewer and fewer. Everyone was racing against time to fight, and at the same time, they also had to pay attention to the news from other regions in the World Channel. District 1 Maple Forest under the heavens. The first kill must be ours. District 1, the world's number 1. District 4 Virtuous like water. District 1 Scram. With our boss Di Shitian here. Where are you? Cool off and stay. District 6 Delicate Beauty. Oh my, what is Di Shitian's rank in Huaxia? If it wasn't for our family's leader Darren not being interested in this instance, you all would be dead meat. District 2 Entering the brothel at night. Beauty upstairs. Is your family's leader Darren the legendary Huaxia's number 1 Night Rain? District 1 Maple Forest under the heavens. No matter how awesome Night Rain is, he's still one person. The underground Imperial Palace is a team instance, looking at the team's strength. What's the use of having a powerful mouth? If you have the ability, then take the first kill. District 6 Delicate Beauty, Maple Forest, clean your mouth a bit. Do you want to duel? Come to a neutral map. If this old lady doesn't kill you 100 times, I'll change my surname to yours. District 4 Fire Ice Walker, this instance is so simple. We're all going to finish fighting. District 6 Delicate Beauty, whose family is this, randomly entering here? District 6 Ice Cold Small Hands. District 4 Virtuous like water. Fuck, will you die if you don't brag? Finish my ass. Our guild has already reached 40% of the progress. This is absolutely the fastest speed in the entire Huaxia region. District 1 Maple Forest under the heavens. The wind is so big, aren't you afraid of twisting your tongue? Whose family's child is this? to actually talk irresponsibly. Because fighting the last big boss in the instance only required Fire Ice Walker and Ice Cold Small Feet, these two people, to attack from a distance. Under boredom, Fire Ice began to look at the World Channel. As a result, he saw a large group of people discussing this underground Imperial Palace instance. Fire Ice Walker didn't know who Night Rain was, but he saw Shetien Guild's people on the World Channel. He was instinctively unhappy, so he casually sent a sentence. And this sentence of Fire Ice Walker made him the target of everyone's crusade. However, the focus of Fire Ice's attention at this time was clearly not these. Small feet, that ice-cold small hands is your older brother? Very clearly, Fire Ice Walker only noticed that ID ice-cold small hands. How many times have I told you, don't call me small feet, call me Liang Ji. Ice-cold small feet couldn't help but roar on the side. You too, be a bit more serious for me. Seeing that the two people were unexpectedly distracted, Ends of the Earth couldn't help but remind them. The two people immediately shut up and concentrated on fighting the boss. In fact, it was the first time for the 5 people to enter the underground Imperial Palace instance. They didn't know anything about the various traps in the labyrinth. But because they had Su Wn, this commander who was familiar with the instance's strategy, they smoothly cleared the small monsters and walked out of the labyrinth to face the last big boss. Because the 5 people's running in time wasn't short, fighting the boss was also particularly smooth. 10 minutes later, the boss was successfully beaten to the last 5% of HP by them. Su Wan, who had been healing Windless the whole time, suddenly shouted, "In a while, wait until the boss has the last 1% of HP left. Everyone, don't use skills, all change to physical attacks." The boss in this instance was actually not too difficult to fight. The only abnormal place was that when it had the last 1% of HP left, once it received a magic attack, it would go berserk and release a big move, instantly recovering 80% of its HP. Hearing Su Wan's words, everyone had a clear idea in their hearts. They stared fixedly at the boss's HP. When it reached 1%, everyone switched to physical attacks. As a result, the boss's HP began to slowly decrease at the speed of -80, -85, -90 per second. 8 minutes later, the huge King of Dead Kings fell to the ground with a loud bang, turning into a large piece of glittering spoils of war. And at the place where he originally stood, a golden skill book floated quietly. Special skill forced resurrection profession restricted to priests. At the same time, in all of Huaxia's 8 major regions' world channels, a line of gilded characters flashed at the same time. World announcement. Congratulations to Huaxia District 4's Phoenix Dances in the 9th Heaven Guild for completing the Underground Palace's first kill. Team members who completed the first kill: Windless, Su Cheng Wnu, Ice Cold Small Feet, Fiery Ice Walker, Ends of the Earth. The glittering golden characters floated in the air, floating in front of all the players, flashing 3 times in a row. Sure enough, important things must be said 3 times. District 4 The Matrix. I'll go. I'll go. I'll go. It's our guild. I'm not dreaming, right? District 4 Dancing Baby. Of course you're not dreaming. What does an insignificant first kill count for? Phoenix Dances in the 9th Heaven Guild is recruiting again. Entering the guild to deliver the first kill, dominating the entire server is not a dream. District 4 Virtuous like water. Your mother, it must be the way I typed in the world channel today. District 1 Maple Forest World, you're not alone. District 6 Ice Cold Small Hands, congratulations. District 4 Lone Wolf. It has to be said that right now, Lone Wolf's heart was very tangled. Originally, he also knew that his guild probably had no fate with this first kill, but in any case, he still had to fight for it. Although he didn't have a favorable impression of Di Shetien, for the sake of District 4's honor, Lone Wolf still hoped that Di Shetien could obtain this first kill. As a result, he guessed the beginning of the story, but he didn't guess the ending. The first kill was District 4's, but it did not belong to Shetien. It belonged to Phoenix Dances in the 9th Heaven. Chapter 77. The underground Imperial Palace instance dungeon was taken down, and Phoenix Dances in the 9th Heaven Guild shocked the world with a single feat. When everyone was inquiring about this Black Horse Guild that suddenly ran out, Su Wan's group of 5 had already left the instance. At this moment, the elite teams of many guilds were exiting the dungeon at the same time. Since the first clear was gone, there was no point in continuing to fight in the instance dungeon until the end. Congratulations! Lone Wolf's tall figure appeared in front of Su Wan. Su Wan looked at Lone Wolf's sharp silhouette and slightly raised her eyebrows. Thank you. Feeling Su Wan's indifference, Lone Wolf hesitated for a bit. Your guild is about to reach level 3, right? Do you want to form an alliance with us? I reckon that Di Shitian will definitely not let you off. At that time, no need. Su Wan somewhat meaningfully looked at Lone Wolf. Shitian Society is our enemy guild, and so is your wolf's teeth. WNU, why are you acting on impulse? From Lone Wolf's point of view, Su Wan and him should bury the hatchet and work together. This was the best situation for everyone. I'm not acting on impulse. Your wolf's fang isn't worthy of becoming Phoenix Dance's ally. Oh! At this moment, a male voice full of mockery rang out from behind the two of them. You've only taken a first clear. Do you really think your guild is invincible? Di Shitian walked to Su Wan's side with a gloomy expression, lowering his head and looking at her coldly. You said that Wolf's Teeth is not worthy of forming an alliance with you guys? I really want to know, in your Su Cheng Wnu's heart, who has this qualification to form an alliance with your Feng Wu? Could it be us, Shitian? I'm not interested in you. Heh. Hearing Di Shitian's words, Su Wan casually smiled. I'm not interested in a man who isn't the first in the district. The only one who is qualified to form an alliance with us is Yong Yi. District 6 Eternal Night Guild, District 6 Number 1 Guild. At the same time, their guild leader was the famous leveling maniac Night Rain who had occupied the top position in all of China. In the entire Huaxia region, only a few people had truly seen the deity of Yi Yu. He was far away from Jianghu, but his legend was everywhere in Jianghu. Once the cross-server channel was activated, not only would the various servers share information, but guilds from different servers could also form alliances across servers. In neutral battlefields that were opened at the same time, the allied guilds could attack and occupy the fortresses on the battlefields together, using them as strongholds for both sides. Yongye, Sakura knew Eternal Night and knew Night Rain even more. According to his understanding, Eternal Night had never formed an alliance with any guild, and Night Rain rarely appeared in front of everyone. His gaming life seemed to be nothing but leveling and leveling. He simply didn't care about anything else in the game. At this time, in Di Shitian's opinion, Su Wan wanting to form an alliance with Eternal Night was simply an idiot's raving. Most of the surrounding onlookers had the same view as Di Shitian. There were even some meddlesome members of Shitian Guild who recorded the conversation between Su Wan and Di Shitian and immediately posted it on the official website of Lingshan Huaxia region. How arrogant. The Dark Horse Guild, Phoenix Dances at Ninth Heaven, was attempting to stand shoulder to shoulder with Evernight. At this time, Phoenix Dances in the Ninth Heaven was in the eye of the storm, and Eternal Night had always been low-key and mysterious. Now that this post had linked the two eye-catching guilds together, the post immediately became a hot topic. Those people who were dissatisfied with Phoenix Dances in the Ninth Heaven snatching the first kill seemed to have found an outlet to vent and all went to the forum to leave messages to vent. At this time, they still didn't know how long it would take before they would be slapped in the face by the cruel reality pa, and what was waiting for them was not only these Eternal Nights leader Darren will use practical actions to tell them what it means to vent for a moment, and the whole family will be buried in the crematorium. The underground Imperial Palace's first kill was of great significance to Phoenix Dance's guild. At this time, all the members of the guild were extremely excited because the guild was about to rise to level 3. Su Wan just happened to encourage everyone at this time to work hard and actively do guild tasks. As long as the guild is promoted to level 3 before 4 o'clock this afternoon, I will invite everyone to watch a big show. Leaving this sentence in the guild channel, Su Wan immediately joined the ranks of doing guild tasks. 2 hours later, player Night Rain requests to add you as a friend, do you accept? A friend invitation suddenly popped up from Su Wan's mailbox. At this time, Su Wan was doing a task in the guild's quarry. Seeing Night Rain's name, she immediately clicked accept. A second later, she received Su Rui's voice invitation. I can finally talk to you in the game. As soon as the voice connected, Su Rui's voice impatiently rang in Su Wan's ear. I'm on the neutral map right now, do you want to come? I'm on the guild map, temporarily can't go over. Our guild is going to be promoted to level 3 today. Su Wan was collecting stones while chatting with Su Rui. Oh. Hearing Su Wan's words, Su Rui was slightly disappointed, but then he spoke again. I saw the world announcement, congratulations. When you guys are promoted to level 3, let's form an alliance. I'll give you a big congratulatory gift. What big gift are? Su Wan just casually asked. She reckoned that Su Rui was planning to bring her to level up or help her kill Di Shitian on the neutral battlefield. It's a secret for now. Unexpectedly, Su Rui kept her in suspense and made it mysterious. TSK Su Wan T-sked. At this time, a letter popped up in her private mailbox again. It was sent by Wu Baobao. It turned out that the guild task's completion rate was up to standard and the guild's resources were also enough to promote to level 3. Sure enough, today everyone was like they were injected with chicken blood and were particularly motivated. Our task is completed, immediately promote to level 3. Su Wan couldn't help but tell this good news to Su Rui at the first moment. Really? Su Rui's voice also seemed very happy. Then you can come to find me in a while, right? No. Su Wan denied Su Rui's question. I want to go and kill someone first. Kill someone? Is it Hui Mao Yi Xiao? Although he was asking her, Su Rui's tone was unspeakably certain. That's right, I'm going to kill someone first. See you offline in a while. Speaking, Su Wan closed the voice. She directly used a scroll to return to the city. After that, Su Wan sent a friend request to Hui Mao Yi Xiao. As expected, Hui Mao Yi Xiao accepted her friend request. Su Cheng Wnu, I want to talk to you alone. You decide on the location. Hui Mao Yi Xiao, okay. Not long after, Hui Mao Yi Xiao sent Su Wan a coordinate. Looking at the coordinates, Su Wan faintly smiled. Turning her head, she sent the coordinates to the guild channel. Su Cheng Wnu, everyone gather at this place. Pay attention to concealment, there's a good show to watch. After sending this sentence, Su Wan sent a private chat to Ice Cold Small Feet and told him to immediately teleport over and find the best position to open the recording function from God's perspective, recording everything that will happen later. After doing all this, Su Wan then bought a location teleportation scroll from the merchant shop and entered the coordinates that Hui Mao Yi Xiao sent. When she teleported over, she saw Hui Mao Yi Xiao sitting by the lakeside in a daze. She had been waiting here for a long time. No, it should be said that ever since coming out of the instance and after Di Shitian went offline, Hui Mao Yi Xiao had been sitting here in a daze. She had no sense of direction and didn't know the way. The reason why she could find Silver Moon Lakeside was because this was the place that Di Shitian often brought her to. And just now, when Su Wan sent her a message to let her set the location, Hui Mao Yi Xiao directly sent her coordinates. Right now, seeing the figure that Su Wan teleported over, Hui Mao Yi Xiao immediately stood up, tightly pursed her lips and looked at Su Wan with a pale complexion. Su Wan unhurriedly walked to a place 5 steps away from Hui Mao Yi Xiao and stood still, meaningfully looking at her. Do you know why I looked for you? I know. As if she had made a very big decision, Hui Mao Yi Xiao's eyes were red and her gaze was brimming with tears as she looked at Su Wan. I know that you want me to leave Tian Gij. You took the instance's first kill, didn't you want to prove to him that you're more suitable for him than me? Su Wan. Chapter 78. By the sparkling Silver Moon Lake, Su Wan and Hui Mao Yi Xiao quietly looked at each other. Ice-cold Small Feet, who had just teleported over, saw the two people by the lake from afar. Taking advantage that he wasn't discovered, he immediately found a big tree by the lake and hid behind the tree, directly opening the video recording function. Right now, Hui Mao Yi Xiao didn't know that she was being recorded. She saw that Su Wan didn't speak and even looked at her with a face full of ridicule. This made Hui Mao Yi Xiao feel especially uncomfortable in her heart, so she opened her mouth again. I know, in your heart, and even in many people's hearts, You all feel that I'm not worthy of Tiengij. You all feel that my awareness isn't good, my operation isn't up to standard, and I'm not suitable to play online games, but love can't be forced. Tiengij said that from the first time he saw me, he liked me. I also like him. I just want to quietly accompany him, give him happiness, let him be happy. Why are you not willing to let us go? Hee hee. Su Wn dryly laughed twice. First, I never thought of destroying you two. Don't say that you two are free to love, even if you get married and have children, what does it have to do with me? Second, you said that you fell in love at first sight. Mutual affection? I remember that at that time, I was still Shitian's vice president and president's wife, right? It turns out that you two hooked up from the beginning. It really surprised me. As she spoke, Su Wn also made a very exaggerated expression of surprise. No, it's not, we just couldn't help ourselves. Tiengij said that he never loved you. Hearing Su Wan's words, Hui Mao Yixiao immediately anxiously defended herself, her entire face making an expression as if she was about to cry. Oh! Di Shitian said that? What a coincidence, I also never loved him. As she spoke, Su Wan once again took a step forward like a caring elder sister, her tone gentle. I don't know what Di Shitian said to you. We've known each other for 5 years. He said that we can only play in the game and not have true feelings. So even though he and I were once called the model couple, nothing actually happened between me and him, not even holding hands. But looking at your appearance, you two must already be very close, right? As she spoke, Su Wn narrowed her eyes and stared at Hui Mao Yixiao's face. Hui Mao Yixiao's face reddened and immediately avoided Su Wan's line of sight. No, there's no such thing. Oh, that's great. Sakura used to show off to me how many girls he had slept with. I was really afraid that you would. This is impossible. Hui Mao Yixiao suddenly excitedly interrupted Su Wan's words. Tiengij isn't that kind of person. He said that I was his first. Seeming to realize her own slip of the tongue, Hui Mao Yixiao tightly closed her mouth and lowered her head. What a foolish woman. Su Wan smiled. Maybe he's really serious about you. I sincerely wish you all the best. What? Hui Mao Yixiao dazedly lifted her eyes and looked at Su Wan incredulously. Didn't you come to force me to break up with him? Why do you think I would force you to break up? I really don't like Di Shitian. Furthermore, I already have someone I like, and he's also in this game. When the marriage system opens, we'll get married. Su Wan looked at Hui Mao Yixiao with a sincere face. Every word and sentence was especially earnest and sincere. Really? Who is it? Hui Mao Yixiao still refused to believe Su Wan. It was as if she wanted to break the pot and ask to the end, until she personally exposed Su Wan's clumsy lie. He's very low-key and doesn't like to announce our identity everywhere. But maybe you'll know after a few days. Mentioning the person she liked, Su Wan's gaze also softened. That kind of expression didn't seem like she was lying at all. Hui Mao Yixiao was absent-minded for a moment and subconsciously opened her mouth. Then why did you look for me today? Jianghu's grievances are Jianghu's. Su Wan smiled and lifted her priest staff. At that time, because of you, I was issued a wanted order by Di Shitian and was chased by a group of people 5 times. The one who tied the bell should untie the bell. Since the matter started because of you, it will end with you. As she spoke, Su Wan already started chanting the priest level 60 skill, Heaven's Punishment. Along with the white lightning striking down, Hui Mao Yixiao's health kept decreasing. She had never PK with others before. In a panic, Hui Mao Yixiao actually forgot that she could heal herself. She turned around and wanted to escape. And Su Wan immediately released deceleration and weakening. Afterwards, she released Holy Light Technique and Light Bullet Technique at Hui Mao Yixiao. Priests originally had low defense and little health. In an instant, Hui Mao Yixiao's health bar hit rock bottom. At this time, she only thought of healing herself. Unfortunately, everything was too late. Su Wan followed up by releasing several Light Bullet Techniques in a row, directly hitting Hui Mao Yixiao's health to nothing. Going to die? Hui Mao Yixiao only felt her vision go black. When she opened her eyes again, What she saw wasn't the resurrection point in the city, but rather a smiling Su Wan. This is. Su Wan smiled and once again used Holy Light Technique and Light Bullet Technique on Hui Mao Yi Xiao. Hui Mao Yi Xiao once again laid on the ground. Then, she was once again revived by Su Wan using Forced Resurrection and recovered 20% of her health. Only, this health seemed especially insignificant under Su Wan's continuous attacks. Just like this, Su Wan used Forced Resurrection on Hui Mao Yi Xiao again and again, and killed her again and again. At this time, there were already a lot of people at Silver Moon Lake. A lot of people were from Phoenix dances in the Ninth Heaven Guild. As for the others, some were purely passing by and some were people from other guilds. Su Wan simply didn't care about the onlookers. Her expression was indifferent the whole time and she continuously released skills. In less than 10 minutes, Hui Mao Yi Xiao turned white and directly killed her to level 10. Her speed really made people speechless. The equipment that fell on the ground, Su Wan also didn't go to pick it up. The level 10 Hui Mao Yi Xiao was already at the novice protection level. Right now, she looked at Su Wan with a face full of resentment. Su Cheng Wnu, what kind of skill is it to kill me? If you have the ability, go kill Di Shi Tian R. Wait until I'm level 70, I'll go kill him. Speaking till here, Su Wan calmly put away her priest staff. I don't have any skill. To kill you, a level 70 priest, I actually used more than 8 minutes. Truly a disgrace for priests are you. Hui Mao Yi Xiao could hear that Su Wan was ridiculing her no matter how stupid she was. My level is higher than yours, but I never kill people. Wrong, right now your level is much lower than mine, and… Su Wan narrowed her eyes, her gaze sharp as she looked at Hui Mao Yi Xiao. You never kill people, isn't it because you can't kill anyone? If your skills really pass, I believe that the people you've killed will not be less than me. No, impossible. I'm not the same as you. Su Cheng Wnu, you homicidal maniac. As if she was confused by Su Wan's anger, Hui Mao Yi Xiao didn't care that much and directly rushed at Su Wan to curse. Homicidal maniac. Hui Mao Yi Xiao, why do you always want to push yourself to the moral high ground? Speaking till here, Su Wan turned around and looked at those onlookers who were crowding at the side but didn't dare to come forward. Everyone plays games to be happy. If you don't PK, what passion is there? Everyone is an adult and not mentally unsound primary school students. Who hasn't killed people in guild battles? Don't tell me that everyone present is also a homicidal maniac. Hearing Su Wan's words, everyone around looked at each other in dismay. Indeed, who hasn't killed people in games? Who hasn't been killed before? What's the big deal about this? In online games, this is the most common thing, okay? At that time, I was just angry that I was abandoned by everyone in Shitian. So what if I killed you twice? Hui Mao Yi Xiao, you wanted to kill your way back yourself. I, Su Cheng Wnu, have nothing to say, but you relied on pillow talk to make Di Shi Tian and Lone Wolf chase after me and even issued a kill order. You're really amazing, playing the two big guild leaders of District 4 in circles. You're slandering people. Right now, Hui Mao Yi Xiao's expression became even more unsightly. Indeed, she and Lone Wolf had a very good relationship for a period of time. Because she was afraid that Yi Tian would misunderstand, she kept it from Yi Tian. And at that time, when Lone Wolf issued a kill order, everyone in the district thought that it was because he hated Su Cheng Wnu because of love. No one knew the inside story. Slandering people. Seeing Hui Mao Yi Xiao put on an innocent and pitiful appearance, Su Wan faintly smiled. Do you want me to find Lone Wolf to confront him now? At that time, when I killed you for the second time, he was by your side. Because it happened suddenly at that time, he didn't have time to stop me, that's all. Speaking till here, Su Wan paused a bit because Wu Feng already sent her a message telling her that Shitian's people were about to arrive. Moreover, someone already informed Di Shi Tian who was offline. Perhaps, in another 2 minutes, Di Shi Tian will be online. Hui Mao Yi Xiao, saying more is useless. Today, I'm only taking revenge for myself. If you're not convinced, you can go find your man and tell him to come and kill me again. I, Su Cheng Wnu, will be waiting. Chapter 79. Su Cheng Wu Lun Bai glanced back and smiled. Killing out of love or killing out of hatred? How could a level 60 priest kill a level 70 priest within 8 minutes? Su Cheng Wu, the return of the homicidal maniac. This time, Su Wan really became famous in one battle. Posts discussing her could be seen everywhere in the game's Huaxia region's forum. Every post had a video of Su Wan killing Hui Mao Yi Xiao. Of course, these videos were posted by those onlookers and were not complete videos. This caused everyone to only see the process of Su Wan killing Hui Mao Yi Xiao again and again, but there was no other content. Very clearly, the person who posted this video wanted to guide the direction of public opinion. Everyone unanimously thought that Su Wan really bullied people too much. When this matter happened and was pushed to the peak of public opinion by everyone, Su Wan was having a meeting with Windless and the others in the guild encampment in the city. Phoenix dances in the 9th heaven had already been successfully promoted to a level 3 guild. The upper limit of guild members had also risen to 500 people. Originally, within an hour, it was filled with 500 people, but now, there were only 200 or so members left in the guild. Is it more or less cleaned up? Ends of the Earth glanced at Windless and asked in a low voice. In the afternoon, Su Wan once said in the guild channel that she wanted to invite everyone to watch a show. Soon after, she sent the coordinates that Hui Mao Yi Xiao sent to her to the guild. This move was clearly really inviting everyone to watch a show, but secretly wanted to find out the spies sent by other guilds that were lurking in Phoenix Dance's guild. Regarding this kind of thing, it was not the first time that Su Wan dealt with it. And she had already privately told Windless and the others about it, so this time's cleaning operation was still considered smooth. Although the remaining people can't be 100% trusted, it's estimated that there aren't many spies left. Windless' tone had always been especially calm. Listening to his words, Su Wan nodded her head. Our Phoenix Dances currently doesn't need too many people. People are valued for their loyalty and not their numbers. Right now, these 200 people are the foundation of our guild's future development. In the future, when the guild grows stronger, they will all be veterans. In a while, Windless, send a guild notice and tell them that in the future, as long as they are loyal and devoted to Phoenix Dances, they will all be included in our Phoenix Dances elite battle team. Regardless of their level and profession, they also don't look at their operation and awareness. Right now, Phoenix Dances still didn't have her own elite battle team and veteran members. This kind of promise placed in a big guild would definitely be a huge gift, and placed in a small guild like Phoenix Dances in the 9th heaven, it didn't seem to be a big promise, but Su Wan believed that as long as tomorrow comes and they personally witnessed how reliable and powerful their ally was, these 200 people would definitely be dead set on staying. Even if there were other people's spies among them, Su Wan reckoned that they would probably immediately rebel. In the game world, strength was the symbol of everything. Su Wan knew that these few people were still lacking in maturity and time. Now, she could only borrow power from Su Rui. Hearing Su Wan's words, Ends of the Earth nodded. He still believed in Su Wan's methods. After all, she had been the vice leader in Shitian for 5 years. And Windless on the side didn't speak. His expression was somewhat strange. What's wrong? Su Wan also noticed Windless's abnormality. Nothing. Windless, who returned to his senses, lightly shook his head. And at this time, Su Wan noticed that there was a page in the guild panel that kept flashing. She clicked on that page and a line of blood-red words flashed out. Shitian Guild has already listed this guild as a hostile guild. Do you also list it as a hostile guild of this guild? Windless chose yes. After he chose, all the members in the guild saw this message. For a moment, the guild channel was in a mess, but Windless was still expressionless. He directly used his authority as the leader to list Wolf's Teeth Guild as a hostile guild. With the second guild message popping out, some timid or quick-witted members immediately chose to take the initiative to leave the guild. 10 minutes later, Phoenix Dances in the 9th Heavens Guild members were only left with the last 180 people. You can send a guild notice now. Su Wan didn't expect that Di Shitian would choose this time to be hostile to their guild. This time was chosen to help them filter out a few dozen grains of sand. Windlass immediately sent the message according to what Su Wan just said. Then he glanced at Su Wan and said in a low voice, "Just now, Di Shitian privately messaged me. He wants me to kick you out of the guild. Otherwise, he will hunt down our Phoenix Dances people all over the map in the future." Regarding such a request, Windlass naturally refused. But with a responsible attitude towards the guild, he still said this matter. Relying on his high level and good equipment, he would hunt down others all over the map at the drop of a hat. Di Shitian only has this bit of ability. This kind of person, you have to find someone stronger than him and more unreasonable than him to properly teach him a lesson. As she spoke, Su Wan smiled somewhat maliciously. "Windlass, you privately messaged Di Shitian. Tell him that Ming Jiujian will gather people and horses to the neutral map. I'll wait for him there. WNU, don't act recklessly. You're not Di Shitian's opponent right now." Hearing Su Wan's words, Windlass wrinkled his brows. Di Shitian was not Hui Mao Yi Xiao. Not only was his high level and good equipment, more importantly, his PK experience was very rich. His positioning and awareness were all superb. This kind of person, Su Wan, who was currently level 60, could not beat him at all. "I can't beat him, but there's someone who can definitely beat him to death." Su Wan's tone was particularly certain. Windlass on the side had an inexplicable face. "Who is it?" he subconsciously asked, while Ends of the Earth looked at Su Wan with a strange expression. Could it be the legendary regarding the mysterious relationship between Eternal Knight's guild leader and Su Cheng Wnu? Ends of the Earth once heard Ice-Cold Small Feet talk about it in the dormitory. So right now, Ends of the Earth immediately thought of Night Rain. It's Night Rain. Sure enough, Su Wan's answer proved his guess. "Windlass, you first tell Di Shitian according to what I said, then you make an announcement on the World Channel and tell everyone that tomorrow, our Phoenix Dances and Shitian will settle their grudges on the neutral map. Everyone is welcome to watch." Seeing Su Wan's confident appearance, Windlass nodded seriously. He didn't know how strong Night Rain was, but since Su Cheng Wnu was Phoenix Dances people, then regardless of whether Night Rain could defeat Di Shitian or not, their Phoenix Dances in the Ninth Heavens people would absolutely stand behind Su Cheng Wnu and not retreat a single step. Seeing that Windlass started to send messages, Su Wan immediately sent a private message to Su Rui. Then she turned her head and looked at Ends of the Earth. "I'm going offline. Today, everyone should go offline earlier and have a good rest. Ends of the Earth, after you go offline, tell Small Feet to wait until 11 o'clock in the middle of the night, when the forum's popularity is at its peak, to post the complete video he recorded today online." "Understood." Ends of the Earth nodded and conveniently lit a row of candles for Hui Mao Yi Xiao in his heart. Right now, in the entire World Channel, everyone saw Phoenix Dances in the Ninth Heavens guild leader repeatedly broadcast the declaration of war announcement 3 times using the world loudspeaker. For a moment, a lot of people jumped out and expressed that they must be the first to watch, while Shitian's people incessantly ridiculed Phoenix Dances in the Ninth Heaven for being arrogant and conceited, not knowing what to do. Tomorrow, just wait to be blown up. When the World Channel was abnormally lively, Eternal Night Guild's guild channel was also very lively. Delicate Beauty. Small Hands, tomorrow, let's also form a team to go watch, okay? Ice-Cold Little Hands. Melancholy Sheep, I want to go see Su Cheng Wnu. Ice-Cold Little Hands. Younger Sister Sheep, you're definitely doing this on purpose. Don't you know that the 4 words Su Cheng Wnu will summon a big boss? Sure enough, the next second Night Rain, tomorrow morning at 8:30, gather at the neutral map. Those who don't go online will all be kicked. Delicate Beauty, Leader Darren, do you want to form a team to go watch? Ice-Cold Little Hands. Guild information, this guild's guild leader, Night Rain, went offline. Alright, just knew that he would go offline. Ice-Cold Little Hands also went offline. Compared to other people's guesses and doubts, Ice-Cold Little Hands clearly knew what their leader Darren will do tomorrow at 11:12 in the evening that day. Most people had already gone offline from the game. At this time, Lingshan Game Forum ushered in the largest traffic peak of the day. It was at this time that a video post suddenly appeared out of nowhere. I am the Emperor of Truth, true restoration of Su Cheng Wnu and Hui Mao Yi Xiao's grievances from beginning to end. This post was not accompanied by any text description, only a very large video file. When you open the video, the first thing that appeared in everyone's line of sight was Silver Moon Lake. Su Cheng Wnu and Hui Mao Yi Xiao, the two people quietly stood there and looked at each other. At this time, there was a voiceover. It was a crisp and deliberately lowered male voice. "Oh hey, isn't this Su Cheng Wnu and Hui Mao Yi Xiao? What are these legendary rivals in love doing? Everyone, please follow me and look." This voiceover was clearly added by the person who recorded the video. Soon after, the perspective of the video was zoomed in, and Hui Mao Yi Xiao and Su Cheng Wnu's following dialogue and expressions were clearly recorded. So the matter was like this. Just like the person who took things out of context, Ice Cold Small Feet also very cleverly added his own voiceover with strong emotions at the appropriate time. For example, after Hui Mao Yi Xiao inadvertently exposed her and Di Shitian's intimate relationship, Ice Cold Small Feet's voiceover appropriately sounded, "Oh hey, this is the difference between a real goddess and a green tea bitch. Other people have known each other for 5 years and haven't even held hands. She had known other people for less than 50 days and rolled the sheet." Subsequently, after Su Wan continuously instackled Hui Mao Yi Xiao, when Hui Mao Yi Xiao angrily accused, Ice Cold Small Feet also added a voiceover. "If you're afraid of death, why are you still playing online game? If you're killed, then take revenge for yourself. You look at other people's Su Cheng Wnu." The entire video lasted for more than 10 minutes. Until the end, when Su Wan exposed Hui Mao Yi Xiao's relationship with Lone Wolf, as well as after she returned to the city and disappeared, Hui Mao Yi Xiao's incomparably resentful gaze, were all very realistically recorded by Ice Cold Small Feet. At the end of the video was a black screen. On the black screen, a row of blood-red large characters was typed: "Right and wrong, gratitude and grudges, justice naturally exists in people's hearts. If you want to know what happened afterwards, please pay attention to the neutral map at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Phoenix dances in the ninth heaven versus Shitian, the battle of the century, on the verge of breaking out." Once this post was published, it immediately caused a huge uproar in the game forum. There had always been a lot of female players in Lingshan, and women had always been very emotional. In the afternoon, after the video of Su Cheng Wnu bullying Hui Mao Yi Xiao burst out, those female players were very angry and kept madly spraying Su Cheng Wnu in the post. And now that the truth was exposed, those female players who had sprayed Su Cheng Wnu felt that they were deceived for the first time, being used as a gun by someone with ulterior motives. So they were angry. Under this kind of public anger, the real identity of those few people who posted the video in the afternoon was very quickly dug out. Those people were actually people from Shitian Guild. This really was Sima Zhao's heart. As a result, the direction of public opinion suddenly changed greatly. Not only Hui Mao Yi Xiao, even the entire Shitian Guild and Di Shitian became everyone's target of crusade. Yi Tian very rarely went on the game forum. Too many things happened in the whole day today. This made Yi Tian's mood very irritable. After he and Windless set the coordinates to meet on the neutral map tomorrow, he went offline early to rest. When he received Elder Dawn Wind Waning Moon's call, Yi Tian had just fallen asleep. "What's the matter?" Yi Tian's voice on the phone still carried a bit of sleepiness. Hearing his voice, Elder Dawn Wind Waning Moon hesitated. "Tianji, if you have time, go take a look at the game forum. There are some matters regarding Hui Mao Yi Xiao." Hui Mao Yi Xiao. As soon as he heard this name, Yi Tian immediately became spirited. He hurriedly hung up the phone and then got down from the bed. He went to the study to open his private computer and logged into his account in Lingshan Forum. He didn't have to deliberately look for it. At a glance, he saw the post that was pinned to the top by the administrator. "I am the Emperor of Truth, true restoration of Su Cheng Wnu and Hui Mao Yi Xiao's grievances from beginning to end." Chapter 80. When Yi Tian was looking at the post, Su Wan and Su Rui were also nestled on the sofa, admiring Ice Cold Small Feet's masterpiece. "This brat is also a talent. Su Rui heard the narration that ice-cold small feet added and felt that it was very interesting. Seeing that there were so many people replying to him under the post, Su Rui's gaze flashed and a thought suddenly flashed through his mind, can I also do this tomorrow? Well, our family's General Su seems to have unknowingly learned some strange new skills again. Right now, Su Wan's expression was also very relaxed. Looking at the large number of replies to Crusade against Hui Mao Yixiao below the post, Su Wn thought that if Hui Mao Yixiao saw this post, she reckoned that she would cry for the whole night. Su Wn, do you think that if Yi Tian sees this post, will he still stick up for Hui Mao Yixiao? Right now, the video happened to be playing the part where Hui Mao Yixiao vigorously denied her relationship with Lone Wolf, and Ice-Cold Small Feet's narration also only had one sentence explanation is concealment. Concealment is a story. He will. Su Wan smiled. What is called female lead halo? That is, no matter what the female lead does, it is right. Even if the female lead does something wrong, the wrong is not her but the entire world. And if the female lead has an unclear relationship with other men, then it must be that man who covets our female lead, Darren's beauty. This is absolutely not female lead, Darren not picking up a bit. If you want to blame someone, blame her for being too beautiful. Turning off the video, Su Wn deeply looked at Su Rui, sleep early. Tomorrow morning on the neutral map, see you there. See you there. Su Rui nodded at Su Wan. He waited for this day for a long time. The next day, Lingshan World, 8:40 in the morning. When Su Wn went online, the people in the guild basically all came. Seeing that there were 300 members in the guild, Su Wn slightly froze for a moment. She asked Dance Baby who was in charge of recruiting new members, and only then did she know that the newly added members were all female players. They used this method to support Su Cheng Wnu Little Pudding, Wnu Jejie, I scolded you on the forum yesterday, I'm guilty, I repent. Today, I want to defeat the great demon King Di Shitian with you, July 7th Yin, at worst, it's just death. Jejie is rich, you're not afraid of death. Yin on the 7th of July, at worst, I'll just die. I'm rich, so you're not afraid of death. Dancing Baby, Sisters v5. When the members of the guild saw Su Cheng Wnu online, they began to flood the screen. Seeing their messages, Su Wan was a bit surprised because there was no lack of very famous players she knew. For example, the popular woman. After she opened the regional competition ranking, she had always been a relatively powerful existence among female players. And Yin, the 7th of July was the most famous female local tyrant in the entire Huaxiao region. Su Cheng Wnu, thank you everyone. If everyone is here, we'll set off first. I'll bring everyone to the neutral map to meet our allies first. Join Phoenix dances, you guys won't regret it. After typing in the guild, Su Wan communicated with Windless and gathered all the online members in the main city's guild hall. Then, Windless spent a lot of money in the game shop to buy the guild's collective teleportation array. According to the coordinates provided by Su Wan, Windless immediately activated the teleportation. The large-scale teleportation across regions was relatively slow. Everyone only felt that there was a vast expanse of whiteness in front of them. After about 5 seconds, the white light dissipated and 300 people uniformly appeared on the neutral map. What caught their eyes was not the yellow sand-like battlefield as advertised on the official website, nor was it those giant monsters with big blood-red words above their heads wandering around and biting people on sight. Right now, what appeared in front of the Phoenix Dancers in the 9th Heaven Guild members was a row of frozen monsters. Around those monsters stood 2 square teams of 500 people, and above those monsters, a slender figure stood in the air. He was wearing an ice-like mage robe. The silver-white robe danced in the air with the wind, quietly emitting a light blue radiance. Holy Sky Mage Robe. Lingshan World's only level 80 mage set so far. Level 80. In the entire Huaxia, and even in the entire Lingshan World, only one person can wear this mage robe. First in the whole region, Mage Knight Rain. Everyone raised their heads in unison. In the shadows of light and darkness, everyone could only see the man's exquisite silhouette, as well as the golden title of first in the region above his head that people couldn't help but want to worship. When Su Wn came out of the teleportation array and saw this big scene in front of her, she also stared blankly. She couldn't help but raise her head to look at Su Rui in midair. Such a flashy scene, it wouldn't be the surprise, he said, right? Right at this time, Su Rui also saw Su Wan. He immediately slowly descended from midair. Phoenix Dance's people then saw that the legendary Huaxia region's first person was actually a broad-shouldered, narrow-waisted, long-legged, peerless and handsome man with a handsome face. Is there still justice in this world? As if to test the psychological quality of Phoenix Dance's people, the moment Su Rui stood in front of Su Wan, the surrounding members of the Eternal Night Guild, who were originally standing quietly and posing, all shouted in unison, "Hello, Madam President." Su Wan. Phoenix Dances in the ninth heaven. At this time, Su Rui and Windless had already completed the guild alliance operation. Su Rui smiled and sent a team invitation to Su Wan. Su Wan immediately clicked accept. This is your surprise. This is just the beginning. Su Rui suddenly took a step forward. Because the two people were now in a team relationship, his one hand around Su Wan's waist was not judged as malicious harassment by the system. The two people's figures slowly rose into the air again. Looking down from midair, she saw the frozen monsters on the ground and Su Wan's face slightly changed. Those monsters were specially driven to a specific location. At this time, looking down from midair, all the monsters just happened to form 5 big frozen words, Xiao Wn, I love you. It was especially troublesome to do this in the game. In order to practice this, Su Rui had to study alone in a level 80 map for a week. How to move, how to freeze each part of the map. These all required exquisite skills and time control. Now is the time for your man to show you his strength. Su Rui slightly lowered his eyes and began to silently recite an incantation, Mage level 75 skill Ice Storm. Mage level 80 skill Absolute Zero. 2 ice spells were released in succession and the monsters on the ground that were sealed by the icebound spell immediately disintegrated like broken ice cubes. Then, everyone saw Su Wan, who was in Su Rui's embrace in midair, and her body emitted a white light, level 61, level 62, level 63, level 64, level 65. It was actually a continuous increase of 5 levels. Do you like this gift? Su Rui slightly drooped his eyes and looked at Su Wan with a gentle gaze. Su Wan's expression was very complicated and her tone was never hesitant. How did you do it? Su Wan knew that the monsters in the neutral map gave high experience, but it wasn't to such an outrageous degree, right? Continuous increase of 5 levels, how many monsters did this require? Su Wan couldn't calculate it at all. Secret. Su Rui blinked at Su Wan and then fell down from midair with her in his arms. Right now, the girls in the Phoenix Dances Guild were already going crazy. What Di Shatien? What lone wolf? Go to hell. Do you know Eternal Night? Do you know Night Rain? That's our family's Su Cheng Wnu's man. He has looks, and he has strength. As long as a person's eyes aren't blind, they will choose him. Seeing Su Rui and Su Wan return to the ground, more than 100 girls in the Phoenix Dances Guild shouted in unison, "Hello brother-in-law." Su Rui, with a smile on his face, "Hello everyone. Everyone in the Eternal Night Guild. Leader Darren, we're here. Leader Darren, where's your aloofness? Where's your ice cube face? You're smiling so gently at Phoenix Dances people. What are you trying to do? Grow up, big people. We're also your relatives. Chapter 81. When Di Shatien brought Hui Mao Yi Xiao and a group of younger brothers to the neutral map, the scene they saw was like this. Eternal Night's men were cheerfully bringing Phoenix Dance's girls to farm monsters. Yes, it's this position. Good, use this skill. And the Eternal Night's girls? What are they doing, all the girls? Windless President, your blade is so handsome. Windless. All the girls. Windless President, do you have female friends? Windless. Phoenix Dance's leftover men, are we being despised by our allies? Despised, right? He must have been despised by her. Say it 3 times, just when everyone was feeling sorry for themselves. Hu Bingxing, who had always liked to join in on the fun, saw Shitian Guild's majestic team at a glance. He estimated that there were at least 500 people. 500 people. Count as nonsense. With the existence of 1,000 allies, Hu Bingxing immediately felt that his back was twice as straight. Even his voice was much louder than usual. Comrades, pay attention. Shitian Dog is here. Following Hu Bingxing's voice, the scattered Phoenix Dance and Eternal Night members immediately returned to their formation and unknowingly stood behind Su Rui and Su Wan. At a glance, Di Shitian saw the two people who were the moon surrounded by the stars. To tell the truth, he was a bit shocked. He didn't think that Su Cheng Wan you could really hook up with Night Rain. Night Rain President, I've heard a lot about you. Di Shitian stepped forward and greeted Su Rui with a calm expression. But what kind of person is our family's General Su? How could he possibly pay attention to him? Di Shitian. The dignified District 4's number 1 was completely ignored like this. Hui Mao Yixiao, who had been standing by Di Shitian's side, still had red eyes. She first glared at Su Wan and then looked at Su Rui with slight curiosity. Turns out that this was Huaxia District's number 1, Night Rain. How could he be together with Su Cheng Wan Yu? He must have been deceived by Su Cheng Wan Yu. Seeing that Su Rui didn't want to pay attention to Di Shitian, Hui Mao Yixiao, who always felt that she was the most approachable, suddenly stepped forward and said in a tactful tone, Night Rain President, we came here today to settle our personal grudges with Su Cheng Wan Yu. This was agreed upon yesterday. You must not be deceived by her, she. Hair. A sneer cut Hui Mao Yixiao's voice short. Su Rui took a step forward, lowered his eyes and dangerously looked at this self-righteous woman in front of him. Personal grudges? Didn't our family's Xiao Wan kill you dozens of times? You can go home and find a man, but our family's Xiao Wan can't find me. As he spoke, Su Rui raised his eyebrows and the corners of his lips pulled into a careless smile. What, you only found a man, Di Shitian? Lone Wolf didn't come? I wanted to take care of 2 of them at once. There's no challenge in fighting just one of them. Night Rain. Hearing Su Rui's words and seeing his aggressive gaze, Di Shitian took a step forward and subconsciously blocked Hui Mao Yixiao behind him. Men's matters should be solved by men, don't involve women. So Di Shitian, you still remember that you're a man. When you chased after my family's Xiao Wan, why weren't you a man? Su Rui's gaze was ice cold, and the words he spoke at this time also had no warmth. If they had been in the same district, he would have disbanded the Shitian Duke Association long ago. Fortunately, it wasn't too late now. Night Rain, it's useless to say more. Since you're willing to stand up for Su Cheng Wan Yu, then let's duel. While speaking, Di Shitian had already raised his hand and waved the people around him to retreat. A large space immediately appeared beside him. Although his level wasn't as high as Night Rain, Di Shitian was very confident in his skills. Moreover, swordsmen were the most advantageous profession in PK in Lingshan. Not only did they have high defense and thick health, their attack was off the charts, but swordsmen also had a skill that gave other professions an incomparable headache: sealing sword. Once it is released and hits the target, it will seal the target for 5 seconds. Within 5 seconds, the target will not be able to use any of their profession's skills. Seeing Di Shitian's serious and solemn appearance, Su Rui just lightly took a step forward. Right now, it was just past 9 o'clock. A large number of players constantly poured into the entire neutral map. A small portion came to train and see the scene, but the majority of the people came to watch the excitement. They originally thought that they could see another showdown between Di Shitian and Su Cheng Wan Yu's old lover. Who knew that the one Di Shitian faced would actually be Yongye's Night Rain? What kind of situation is this? At this time, those spectators who had the foresight to squat early in the morning immediately proudly explained to the people who arrived later. This matter is actually like this blah blah blah, like that blah blah blah, got it? Everyone, what the heck? So it's like this Right now, Di Shitian had already begun to release his skill, Sword Entanglement, the most commonly used primary skill of swordsmen. When fighting monsters, you can pull monsters. When PK, you can instantly pull the opponent to your eyes, making the long-range professions lose their advantage. Leader, be careful The onlookers of Yongye had never seen Su Rui PK with others. At this time, seeing that Di Shitian had already made a move first, and Su Rui was still standing motionless in the same place without any action of wanting to chant his skill, everyone couldn't help but worry. Although our family's leader Daren's level is low, he doesn't know how to PK at all. In fact, does Su Rui really not know how to PK? At this time, Su Rui only felt a suction coming from his face, pulling his body and instantly arriving in front of Di Shitian. Di Shitian's eyes flashed with a hint of joy. He immediately activated the sealing sword, and then, there was no then, until Di Shitian's health reached the bottom and he loudly fell to the ground. Everyone inexplicably maintained a sluggish state with their mouths wide open. Who can tell Laozi what just happened? It's void. Only Su Wn clearly saw that the moment Su Rui arrived in front of Di Shitian, Su Rui used a level 65 mage skill, Void, to strike the target with a 4% chance of instant death. If an ordinary mage used this skill, it could only be used as a close-range critical hit because the 4% chance of instant death was actually a very deceptive setting in the game. It was basically useless. But this skill immediately became unrecognizable in front of Su Rui, this martial arts expert. When he just entered the game, Su Rui mastered this skill. He experimented with those tens of thousands of small monsters. In the end, he discovered that as long as the distance between him and the opponent was close enough, and he controlled the strength of the attack and the most precise position of the attack, he could 100% kill in one hit. Of course, the most demanding condition was that the position of the attack must be the opponent's weakest point. It was this kind of ordinary skill that was used by Su Rui to perfection. Almost in a single move, he completely killed Di Shitian, and after Di Shitian fell, Su Wan immediately used a forced resurrection on him. After resurrecting, Di Shitian was still somewhat baffled. Until he felt that Su Cheng Wnu had been healing him, he had no choice but to accept the fact that he had already died once. And Hui Mao Yi Xiao on the side had clearly been frightened by that unforeseen event just now. She subconsciously retreated a few steps, somewhat fearfully looking at Su Rui, completely forgetting that as a priest, she had to add blood to her man. When she thought of it, Su Wan had already helped Di Shitian recover his health. She lightly put down her priest staff and immediately looked at Su Rui with dissatisfaction. Next time you kill him, can you delay for a few seconds and let me have time to chant a skill? Onlookers. Su Rui, okay. After answering Su Wan's words, Su Rui turned his head and looked at Di Shitian next to him. Come on, this time it will definitely exceed 5 seconds. Di Shitian. Di Shitian had played online games for several years. These years, he had always been aloof and unrivaled. The days where he stood in the clouds were too long. At this moment, he suddenly fell from the clouds into the mud. His mood immediately fluctuated greatly. At this time, he heard Su Rui's slightly mocking words. Di Shitian's expression turned sinister and he suddenly released the sealed sword that had long been on cooldown at Su Rui. He hit the target. It was sealed. Looking at the blood-red seal word revolving around Su Rui's body, Di Shitian's eyes were ruthless as he released 3 swordsman's high critical strike skills in succession. Go to hell. Go to hell. Go to hell. Blood Rain Sword. The skill's effect lived up to its name. Blood rained down from the sky. The red was soul-stirring. And in that blood red, Su Rui's figure floated like an immortal. The holy sky robe with a light blue light effect was not stained with a trace of blood. 5 seconds passed in a flash and Di Shitian, who had released several skills in one breath, did not see Su Rui, who had low defense and low health, fall to the ground as he wished. When the blood rain dispersed, Su Rui was still standing there unscathed. Onlooker A. Heavens, Night Rain dodged all the attacks. This was simply a godly movement. I want to turn on the recording. Buddy, did you turn on the recording? Onlooker B. This is the legendary god of PK. Your mother. It blinded Laozi's aluminum alloy dog eyes. Onlooker C. Fuck. Night Rain didn't lose a single drop of blood. This is not scientific Su Wan. Do you know Qinggong? Have you seen Lingbo microsteps? If I told you that Su Rui's Qinggong is 100 times more powerful than the male protagonists in the martial arts novels that you know, I don't know how you would feel. At this moment, Su Wan suddenly thought of a very popular saying on the internet: mortals are fish lips. Chapter 82. This is impossible. His ears were full of other people's praises for Night Rain. Di Shitian blankly looked at the intact Su Rui. He did not believe that a person could escape the skill attack range set by the game just by moving. This was absolutely impossible. This was not true. At this time, Di Shitian's vision was in a trance. His mind was unstable and he even forgot to continue attacking Su Rui. At this moment, Su Rui suddenly raised his staff and released the Mage level 75 skill, Seal of Time. This was a group sealing skill that could freeze the target character within the effective range for 10 seconds. Di Shitian naturally could not escape, and in the next 10 seconds, Blizzard Spell and Ice Curse came down one after another. Di Shitian's health once again bottomed out. This time, Su Wan had already grasped the best opportunity. Almost at the moment when Di Shitian fell, the Forced Resurrection skill was immediately cast on his body, and then the healing skill. It was the same as last time. Continue. Su Rui still looked at Di Shitian with a cold face. I don't want to waste too much time on trash. Trash. After living for more than 20 years, this was the first time Yi Tian was called trash. At this time, he clenched the long sword in his hand and suddenly rushed towards Su Rui. Situ Yi, you're going too far. Well, it seems that he completely shed all pretense of cordiality and even used the name in reality. Although Yi family was not in Haicheng, it was also a prestigious family. He more or less understood the matters of Haicheng's Situ family. Yi Tian knew that Situ Yi was weak and sickly since childhood. He did not believe that he, a dignified fighting champion, could not beat down a medicine jar in the game. Skills were not good to use, so he simply fought in close combat, physical attacks. With Situ Yi's weak mage health, he could grind him to death. It had to be said that although he was in a rage, Yi Tian's IQ had strangely risen. It was a pity that he did not know that this Situ Yi was no longer that Situ Yi. Seeing the heavy sword's swift and fierce attack in front of him, Su Rui smiled disdainfully and simply threw his magic staff into the air. Then, Su Rui slid forward and appeared in front of Yi Tian. Swords are not used like this. While speaking, a novice wooden sword had already appeared in Su Rui's hand. This was the small wooden sword that the system gifted to each character in Lingshan when they were born in the novice village. It was not restricted by the profession and anyone could use it. The short and crudely made beginner's sword and Yi Tian's gleaming silver heavy sword formed a sharp contrast. The two swords intertwined in midair. Su Rui drew a sword flower and directly pierced Yi Tian's vital point. Yi Tian's heavy sword also pierced Su Rui's body at this time. Time seemed to have slowed down countless times at this moment. Su Rui's wooden sword itself was short and small. Based on the two people's current position, Yi Tian's sword should have injured Su Rui first. Unfortunately, the reality was the opposite. Su Rui's body made the most perfect reaction in an instant. He dove horizontally and Yi Tian's attack missed. At this time, Su Rui's wooden sword directly pierced into Yi Tian's armor. 1888. A high damage value floated out from the top of Yi Tian's head, once again blinding everyone's aluminum alloy eyes. Passerby A. Your mother, using the novice wooden sword's attributes of 10 to 20, you can make Di Shitian, who has a full body of plus 10, lose 1888 HP. System, are you playing with me? Passerby B. What do you know? This is the legendary critical strike. As long as your operation and awareness are unparalleled, even if you are barehanded, you can still deal over 1,000 damage. Otherwise, how could Lingshan be said to have the highest degree of realism in the world? But this is also the first time I saw someone do this with my own eyes. Night Rain is really too motherfucking awesome. Lousy is convinced. Passerby C. Great God Night Rain, through the autumns and 10,000 generations, longevity will be the same as the heavens. Passerby D. Just as everyone was exclaiming in admiration, Su Rui once again flashed. His ghostly figure circled behind Yi Tian and the wooden sword in his hand gave a backstab. 2,000. Damn. At this time, the assassins in the crowd were boiling because the move that Su Rui just used with the novice wooden sword was impressively the assassin's assassination skill, surprise attack backstab. Whether it was his speed or movements, or even the angle and strength of his hand, it could all be called a textbook-level existence. Not waiting for the assassins to finish exclaiming in admiration, Su Rui neatly gave Yi Tian a set of chain swords, 2000, 2000, 2000. Then, Di Tian was once again gloriously game over. Everything happened too fast. Until Yi Tian was forcefully resurrected by Su Wen, Su Rui had already put away the novice wooden sword and just happened to receive the magic staff that fell from mid-air. At this time, Yi Tian's complexion was ashen, looking like he had lost confidence in life. The surroundings suddenly became very quiet. At this time, no matter what kind of mood everyone had at the beginning, everyone coincidentally kept silent at this time. Night Rain's strength, that kind of inconceivable godlike strength, made you unable to even have the courage to be envious and jealous. No one dared to laugh at Di Tian. Because they knew that in front of Night Rain, anyone present would be beaten black and blue. Still want to come? A careless tone slowly sounded. Su Rui played with the magic staff in his hand, lightly raised his eyebrows and glanced at Yi Tian. There was no provocation nor disregard in this glance, it was so calm that it made people flustered. At this moment, Yi Tian truly realized that from the beginning, Night Rain was not provoking him at all and vainly trying to shake an elephant was overestimating its own capability. And the elephant leisurely walked directly on the road, not because it was ignoring the ant, but because the ant had never appeared in its eyes. The height was different, the field of view was different, and the state of mind was also very different. Without answering Su Rui's words, Yi Tian's figure slightly swayed and directly disappeared in front of everyone. Di Tian went offline. Yi Tian at least still maintained the pride of a man. He went offline, and from then on, he never went online again. Of course, this was all in the future. At this time, seeing Di Tian directly go offline, the surrounding people were both surprised and felt that it was natural. No one could stay on this matter if it was placed on them. Once Di Tian went offline, the Shitian members who were subdued by Su Rui's domineering attitude also left dejectedly. Those who returned to the city, those who went offline. Hui Mao Yi Xiao still stood in the same place, her complexion ashen. The man who could originally shelter her from the wind and rain, who could do everything for her, was beaten black and blue by Night Rain in front of her eyes. Hui Mao Yi Xiao's heart was shock. For the first time, she knew that there would actually be such a powerful man in the game, and such an outstanding man was actually used by Su Cheng Wu, that homicidal demon, to cheat. This was really too much. Night Rain, seemingly exhausting all the strength in her body, Hui Mao Yi Xiao suddenly stepped forward and called Su Rui. I have some words I want to say to you about Su Cheng Wu. En. Su Rui raised his eyebrows, not concealing the disgust in his eyes at all. Extremely boring. As he spoke, he already unhesitatingly strode towards Su Wan. Night Rain, do you really believe that Su Cheng Wan you never liked Di Tian? Seeing that Night Rain refused to pay attention to her, Hui Mao Yi Xiao had no choice but to shout loudly. Her shout actually made those onlookers who hadn't gone far stop their footsteps. Your mother, today's big play, you've just finished singing and I'm on the stage. Is this going to change from fighting and killing to love? Chapter 83. Night Rain, do you really believe that Su Cheng Wan you never liked Di Tian? Hui Mao Yi Xiao's words didn't set off the slightest ripple in Su Rui's heart, but these words made the surrounding members of Eternal Night and Phoenix Dances, the two great guilds, especially the girls in the guild, unhappier pretty beauty. Hey, that shameless guy over there. Your man has already gone offline, and you're still trying to seduce our Prince Charming. Can't you have some integrity and self-awareness? Our family's president's male god is Goddess Wn's. What does it have to do with you are? Yin on the 7th of July, that's right, which woman hasn't fallen in love with a scumbag before? Even if you really liked Trashman Tian before, that was also in the past. Popular woman, there is a kind of green tea called Hui Mao Yi Xiao, 50 cents a piece, buy one get one free. Dance baby, auntie, it's not popular to sow discord now. You're even a vicious supporting female character and I think you're too out. In front of Feng Wu's young ladies, Hui Mao Yi Xiao immediately transformed into a slag with only 5 battle power. She moved her lips, an expression of tears flowing before she spoke. It was a pity that the surrounding male onlookers were enjoying themselves. Who had the mood to have tender feelings for the fairer sex? Moreover, if everyone still couldn't see Hui Mao Yi Xiao's essence by now, then they should really eat some braindead pills to pull up their IQ that was lower than normal. How boring. Su Rui walked in front of Su Wan and smiled at her. Do you want me to help you level up? All right. Su Wan nodded her head. The two people were still in a team state, so Su Wan simply and straightforwardly followed the captain, and then the two people left this place of trouble as if no one else was present. When Hui Mao Yi Xiao struggled out of everyone's siege, she discovered that Yi Yu and Su Cheng Wu had already left. This day was a very lively day. This day was also a milestone day for Lingshan in the Huaxia region. After Di Shitian went offline, someone quickly uploaded the video of Night Rain killing Di Shitian to the forum. A PK god has appeared in the Huaxia region. If you're not convinced, come fight me. How did the number 1 Sakura of the 4th district get crushed into dregs? Throughout the day, the entire forum was flooded with incoherent comments and videos that had been replayed hundreds of thousands of times. The entire Huaxia forum was almost paralyzed by the overwhelming number of visitors. Night Rain became a god in one battle. The Huaxia region became famous in one battle. He smiled proudly at all heroes. Even Jack, who had always thought highly of himself as the number 1 fighter in the Northern American region, also climbed over the wall and downloaded Night Rain's PK video and reposted it on his personal homepage. The topic of PK God Night Rain's real and virtual world, the topic of profession and profession switching swept the global region of Lingshan. Even this also made a definite contribution to the future introduction of the second profession change and the 2 major profession skill switching in Lingshan. Under such an atmosphere, an inconspicuous ID silently uploaded a short video that most people had never seen before on the forum. In Lingshan, which family is strong in showing affection? OP, little icy cold hands, I won't speak, I'm just a porter for little video. This was a short video. At the beginning of the video, Night Rain was in midair, waving her staff and immediately, thousands of miles of glacier appeared below. Then the video screen changed and Su Cheng Wu appeared from the transmission array. Endless yellow sand, among thousands of people, 2 people looked at each other. At this time, the background music sounded. It was the season's most popular love song, A Thousand Years in a Glance. Afterward, the video screen did a special soft light treatment. Night Rain walked in front of Su Cheng Wu, held her with one hand, and the 2 people flew into the air. Then the view of the video changed from the sky to the earth. Everyone saw the frozen monsters on the ground automatically form 5 big words, Xiao Wn, I love you. There was no need to watch anymore. Many girls in front of the computer who inadvertently clicked on this video were already crying. Woo woo woo, Night Rain is so handsome and so infatuated. To have such a lover in this life, I'm really willing to die immediately. An hour later, Little Icy Cold Hands video actually stood out from a large number of PK videos and occupied the top position of the forum's red post. After those PK madmen who were originally unconvinced clicked on it, they originally wanted to find fault, but in the end, they could only silently withdraw and continue to ridicule in their hearts, your mother. You're handsome, it's fine if you're good at PK. But you're chasing a woman, it's a grade higher than us brothers, low-key, luxurious, and meaningful. Can't you just let us mortals have fun? If Lousy could have 1/10 of Night Rain, no, 1% would do. Using his 1% to chase after the school bell next door would be easy and without any pressure, okay. Going offline from Lingshan, Su Rui rubbed his arms. Although Lingshan advertised as having the highest degree of realism, but today in the game, when Su Rui used the wooden sword to fight Yi Tian, because of the limitations of the game data, he used internal strength and forcibly poured his internal strength into that wooden sword. Otherwise, how could it cause such a high damage value? Now that he went offline, Su Rui's arms were slightly sore. This was because of the game data's rejection of internal strength, causing a backlash. Sighing, Su Rui simply sat cross-legged on the bed and began to adjust his internal breath. Time passed by minute by minute. When Su Rui opened his eyes again, it was already an hour later. Separated by the bedroom door, he smelled the fragrance coming from the kitchen. That fragrance was particularly strong, and it was also mixed with a trace of a familiar aura to Su Rui. The chef came really early today. Perhaps it was because today's consumption was too big. Su Rui was really a bit hungry. He stood up and went straight to the kitchen. As a result, when he walked to the kitchen door, Su Rui's whole person was stunned. Su Wn stood in the kitchen, wearing an apron, her straight black hair loosely tied behind her head. At this time, she was stirring the soup with a serious face. Because her back was facing the door, Su Wan did not immediately notice Su Rui's arrival. The kitchen had already prepared 2 dishes, exquisite in appearance and rich in fragrance. Su Rui recognized the 2 dishes at a glance. One was shredded chicken and the other was salt-fried meat, and what Su Wan was currently cooking was ginger sauce fish fillet. Su Rui unconsciously blurted out the name of the dish. This was his favorite dish when he was in the general foo. You even smelled this. Su Wan heard Su Rui's voice and immediately chuckled. It's my first time cooking. If it doesn't taste good, don't get angry. How could that be? As long as it's something you cook, I can eat it all. Su Rui leaned against the kitchen door, his hands crossed over his chest, quietly watching Su Wan's back. Su Wan, this is the first time you cook for me. Su Wan's hand holding the kitchen spatula slightly stiffened. Is that so? I didn't notice. Hee. Su Rui smiled and remembered that in the last world, he deliberately found an excuse to stay overnight and Su Wan only ordered an unpalatable takeout to send him away. Was their relationship not quite the same as it had been before? Su Wan, I'm really happy today. How about I go open a bottle of red wine? Saying this, Su Rui didn't wait for Su Wan to answer and went back to his bedroom. Now, all the high-end furniture and expensive red wine in the bedroom were also flown over by our family's young master Situ. Hearing Su Rui's footsteps leaving, Su Wan stared blankly at the fish fillet in the pot and was somewhat lost in thought. She didn't know what happened to her. She clearly warned herself not to give him any hope, but today, she was inexplicably moved by him. Especially when Su Rui brought her to level alone in the afternoon. Su Wan had long noticed that his arm was strange, but seeing that he kept enduring, Su Wan didn't ask much. But after going offline, Su Wan still went to the door of Su Rui's room immediately. She wanted to take a look at his situation, but in the end, she saw Su Rui recuperating on the bed. At that moment, Su Wan suddenly felt a bit distressed. So after she turned around and left, she didn't return to her room but directly went to the kitchen. According to the memory of the little Junju that she received when she was in the Great Xia dynasty, she found some simple dishes that Su Rui liked to eat in her memory and busied herself in the kitchen. Perhaps, at this time, Su Wan still didn't feel or was even unwilling to admit one thing. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.